take my hand and we'll go away to a different place. Float on air and we'll hide away. I'll be your escape. Look up and feel the shifting winds tossing us around again. Hold tight, get ready to begin and just levitate. No control.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the GKR Leagues. How's it going? I am PandaCast, joined by Sunny Enough. It's been a year and 4 months to the date that we previously casted together, so it is wonderful to be casting alongside you once again, Sunny.
I couldn't agree more. It's been a long time, as you just mentioned, and honestly, I didn't think I would ever hear this sentence again, joined by Sunny. My wonderful co-caster, as you used to say. I'm very happy to be here on your channel, Panda, today with the GKR 2025 League in Brawl Stars. Now for the very first time, and I hope it's going to stay around for a little while.
And on the first match day, it was Brawl Ball. Today, it's going to be only Heist, so it is different. Like a lot of third-party tournament organizers, they like to mix it up and whatnot. But this time, we're going to go from discipline to discipline to discipline. So each of the match days, we're going to have something new for you guys, but it's only going to be one specific game mode. And we saw some wonderful matches on the first day where we did miss Sunny, but luckily today, we have her shining on the screen once more.
You don't have to do without me any longer. Oh, bless you. I'm very happy to be here today, even though we're only having Heist today, which is something very new for me as well. The only thing I ever casted was a Brawl Ball tournament only, but I've never casted Heist for a full day, so I'm really excited to look a bit more into this game mode that is very specific in their characters as well. What you want to pick. We will show you later on as well which were the most picked brawlers last week. Of course, the meta has changed quite a bit since last week already. But in Heist, I think we're going to see some completely new brawlers. For example, Chuck is someone that I don't really see on any other map and mode outside of Heist mode.
Right, that's true. We're going to talk about a little bit about how this tournament is structured. In phase one, we had 3 different qualifiers where we got 12 teams which managed to qualify during these qualifiers. On phase 2, which is the one we're on right now, we have a double round robin with 4 groups of 3 teams, and we're going to be having 8 match days as a result of that. In phase 3, we're going to have a double elimination brackets where only 8 of these 12 teams that have qualified will move on to that phase. So right now it's all about finding the best of the best teams in EMEA, and so far we are seeing some really quoted teams right now. Usually we only see 8, but now we have 12 amazing teams. We also have the prize pool, which is 5,000 American dollars. First place getting 2,500, 1,200 for the second, third gets 700, 300 for the fourth, and the rest get $75. So that is definitely very, very goated. And thank you to the sponsors, Smilky.
We are in the middle of the group stage right now. We are gonna head into the playoffs later on. 8th and 9th April is that's gonna be the top 8 team will gonna move on. And it's nice to see that you get something even on the 8th place. Everyone who makes it to the playoffs is gonna not go home empty-handed. And as you just mentioned, Smilky has been a partner for quite some time already. We're very happy that they're staying with the GKR League and are gonna be with us for this season in Brawl Stars as well. We just had a little cheat look also what they're doing. And today, Panda, we're going to head into the group stage. We're going to start with B, C, AA. And of course, any gym rats know exactly what that is. They're going to be very familiar with that Smilky protein powder. You should give it a try.
I mean, I think I probably need a lot more protein in my diet, seeing as how I look. But the first one, we're going to have a lot of protein in the first matchup. It's Schnitzel, FA Schnitzel versus Dark Eagles. Schnitzel have Audrey, Bogdan, Dompe. And Dark Eagles, we have Master, Farisa, and Xerox. In the second match, it's going to be Eclipsar Esport versus LLC, followed by SK Gaming versus IDI. Humble versus FA Sniggets is going to follow after that. And to round it out, we have Reply Totem versus Papara Supermassive and Experion NXT versus Reverso Gaming. So that graphic has to be updated, but it is Reverso Gaming. They got recently acquired by this organization. So congratulations to the team of RNO finally being represented by a massive organization in EMEA.
I'm certainly looking forward to that match since we did have a free win last week. I hope every single team is going to be able to play today. We also want to see what Experian NXT is going to show us in the GKR League. And of course, we only have a group stage for a certain amount of time. They only have this many chances to make it to the playoffs, where they can finally also get some money from this. I'm very excited for today. It's only day 2. We have some highlights from day 1, I believe.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how this one does turn out. I believe the maps are going to be the same for all of the fixtures today. We're going to have Safe Zone, followed by Bridge Too Far, followed by Pit Stop. Talking about a little bit about the meta that you were discussing. You said Chuck is being used a lot in Safe Zone. I think that, yes, Chuck is still like a really viable choice in high stakes. You see a lot of people banning it out, but the meta right now is still under meta discovery. We're still trying to figure out what people are going for, and so far we see Colt being picked up a lot in NA. For EMEA as well, we have Chuck coming out a lot. We have Griff as well. Juju is an option that people go for. Melody's awesome as well on this map specifically. Angelo too. So a lot of different options, a lot of different ways people are going to be playing. Let's see how this one does turn out. We have FA Schnitzel on the docket right now.
Schnitzel is going to play against Dark Eagles, and of course the German food lovers and Austrian food lovers amongst you know exactly what that is. It's also depicted in a very nice little logo there. Audrey, Bogdan, and here is Dompe are going to play together in Schnitzel. They had a decent start last week, yet they did lose their match against Eclipsar, but what they showed us last week certainly promises some interesting picks this week as well. You just mentioned it before. We're going to have Heist. It's going to be a bit of a different meta than last week, for sure. We also had the first batch of Hypercharges come out last week. Tomorrow that's going to change again, of course. Hypercharges are going to follow up even more so. And that certainly gave some brawlers a boost that have been in the F tier, now suddenly standing on top of the leaderboard. Dark Eagles, the opponents of Schnitzel, are gonna look into picking the best brawlers to beat them today.
Yeah, we have this completely Turkish side with Farisa, Master, and Xerox. So they were a big surprise for me because I wasn't really keyed into EMEA, but seeing some of these teams really come out and show us that they are as good as some of the other top tier teams is really emblematic of how much EMEA has become so much more competitive over the years. It's just going to be an interesting match between both these sides. Last time I saw Audrey really pop off, but on the other side, we saw Master as well, just doing so great, along with Xerox, along with the Janet picks that they did bring out. So I don't know how this one's going to be playing out. I can't really say if I have any predictions here. I don't know if Schnitzel or Dark Eagles are going to win, but I certainly know that the viewers are going to win because the matches are going to be goated.
We certainly hope so. We look forward to the very first match of today. We are going to have 6 matches in total, so stay tuned. There are going to be some fan favorites coming in later on as well. Schnitzel and Dark Eagles both didn't have the best start into the season last week. They both lost their match. Dark Eagles at least was able to take a set off of LSC. Do you feel like that's going to be motivating for them today?
I think it definitely is going to be playing into that a little bit. Also, we have to look at how much these players have decided to scrim, or if they got distracted by the new content, which is the Pro Pass and the new rank system. So maybe they're really keyed into that. Maybe they want to go for the Pro tier or whatever. So we have a lot of different things on the table. First up is going to be Safe Zone, followed by Bridge Too Far, and finally running it out is going to be Pit Stop. This is going to be the map selection for the entirety of our matches today. That means all 6 matches, we're going to see exactly these maps. But what really is going to be showcased here is how these teams have different strategies and tactics involved in really coming out on top. And I'm really interested in seeing how all these teams decide to play. Is it going to be passive? Is it going to be aggressive? I don't know, Sunny.
I'm also looking forward to see if any of the teams that play a bit later are going to get influenced by what the teams before them picked here. Are they going to watch those matches and maybe be a bit inspired by whatever the teams before them showed up with? Bridge Too Far, of course. I think Kit is the best brawler here, right?
I think so, maybe. Kit, we did see a resurgence in Kit in the last match day, but then again, it was on, Gem Grab. We might see an 011 here. I don't know if that's what you're referencing, Sunny.
I am certainly. Whoever bought the ranked pass might have seen it before, and whoever has watched Worlds last year knows, of course, what I'm talking about. I don't really expect to see a Kit today, but I wouldn't be mad about it. He's certainly still a good brawler in the current meta. What I look forward to see is all those new picks. I was talking about it a little bit beforehand already. We had some brawlers that were at the bottom of the meta. Mr. P, for example, we didn't really see him anymore. Hank, of course, he was memed quite often, and both of them now received their hypercharge, catapulting them immediately into the top tier of the brawler meta, alongside with Ollie, a very new brawler that we haven't really seen at all in the BSC month that we've already seen, even though it's one of the new brawlers that are usually quite strong at the beginning. But he wasn't up there.
Yeah, but I think that Ollie now has really come into its own because they have changed how Ollie works. You don't get muted anymore when you use your super, so that just gives Ollie that much more of a potential to really shut down opponents which are trying to threaten your team, or maybe make opportunities for your team to go in. So I think that Ollie's definitely a really great pick. You mentioned Hank, and I was a bit of a skeptic, right? But we saw some insane pop-off plays with the Hank hypercharge. Maybe it warrants a little bit of a nerf, but the problem with that is that we haven't seen Hank being relevant in years now. I think the only time Hank was even a serious pick was when he first came out, and he was hard nerfed back in the day. So it's nice to see Hank coming out and being very, very meta. Mr. P as well, but I think that a lot of players don't like it as much. I feel like it really goes and stops whatever tactics that they have to bring to the table. So I'm not sure, but Mr. P is definitely strong, along with that one Hank pick that you were talking about.
We will see some players and brawlers that we've seen already. Some are going to be picked up for the first time today, since the meta has gotten a recent change. Last week, for example, we still saw a lot of Max, Ruff, Ash, Jean. Those have been the top picked brawlers in the GKR last week. This week, I expect a lot more Melody, for example, maybe even a Lou, a Juju still. Just something to do a lot of damage to the safe, of course. From the distance, I don't believe it's a tank meta right now.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be like that. I feel like it's going to be a lot more control. We know that Barry is still such a good pick in this meta, so it might be so good that teams decide and opt to ban it out altogether. Juju, like I said, is such a good brawler in the safe zone map as well, just because it has enough walls to really work with. It has the water Gregory is just so oppressive on the map. Lose another great brawler to shut down the mid as well. So it really depends on how teams go about playing this one. In the monthly finals, I saw some different strategies coming about, but that was prior to the new meta taking shape. So it is going to be interesting to see how much the gadget changes and the new hypercharges really influence the meta and how it changes.
Heading into this very first match, Schnitzel versus Dark Eagles. Again, both didn't take a win home last week. For one of the two, this is certainly going to be possible today. One team always has to win after all. The first point to make it into the playoffs at the 8th of April in the end. And we're going to start with Safe Zone. We talked so much about the meta now. Panda, what do you think is going to be the brawler that they're going to pick up here on Safe Zone specifically?
I think that honestly, Barry seems like a good shout here. Some moderating influences. Obviously, you're going to have some of the longer range brawlers, but it really depends on how the bans shape out. If Mr. P is going to be there, you're probably not going to see as many snipers because you're going to get punished heavily by that Mr. P turret. The porters just eat up all that ammo, and we know classically that sharpshooters don't have the best reload speed, so definitely that might be an option here. In terms of raw potential for safe damage, I think that for the objective, 8-bit seems like a pretty good shout here. With a boosted booster, it's going to do a lot along with the extra credits as well. What do you think, Sunny?
I would agree with the Barry. We saw that come out of Humble quite recently. It's still a very strong brawler in the meta. Just the survivability of himself and his teammates is a good reason to win the map overall. I was looking for Melody here and also Mandy. Mandy has just recently received her hypercharge, making her very strong in the current meta. And of course, you can also decide to use every single ult you get along the way on such a long-range map like Safe Zone to trickle down the high save even more. In earlier days, we saw a lot of hyper, for example. That could still be an option here in mid. Penny now also in the meta ever since she got her hypercharge. And overall, we can see a trend in Brawl Stars. I think it's safe to say that whoever gets their hypercharge is gonna be at least B tier.
That is definitely sure. That's true. But soon we're gonna have all the hypercharges, so that's gonna be balanced out. But right now, I think that Stu is also a pretty decent shout just to take out a little bit of the squishier options on the map, especially with the hypercharge, like you mentioned, and the Gasso heal. He's just gonna be able to close the gap between him and a lot of different people. So that's also gonna be a brawler that we might see as a counter pick. Maybe not like an out and out first pick or an early pick, but definitely something that could be used towards the end.
Looking at the team rosters again on the side of FA Schnitzel, which has to be my favorite name in all of the tournament. It's Adri, Bogdan and Dompe, 2 Spanish players, 1 Romanian. All 3 of them, I heard the names before, but I don't really recall ever seeing them in bigger tournaments other than maybe the Metrorino ones. So I'm really looking forward to see where they're going to land, if they're going to make it into the playoffs. They're certainly the underdogs here. Dark Eagles, Master, Xerox and Farissa, also names we've heard before, but they also didn't win last week, at least took a set. They, however, did make it into this tournament via the first qualifier, which in it alone already is a great success. We're going to have a little overview over the map now. Panda, Safe Zone, isn't it pretty?
It certainly is. I like the theme that they're going for right now. Very Egyptian, very Finks. I don't expect to see Finks just yet. I think it might be banned, but I might be wrong on that. So if Finks is going to be brought out, that's going to certainly put a wrench in the works for a lot of the teams, because again, meta discovery right now is the name of the game, and the teams that adapt it the fastest are the ones who are going to be coming out on top. It's not necessarily the best teams in terms of the raw skill of the game, but it is the best teams in terms of strategy and adaptation right now.
As we are still having a look at the game, we ask you all to just wait a little bit longer. We're going to head into the game right away, I believe, as soon as all 6 of the players are ready to head into it. And now that we have the player cams, we see that they are ready. We're heading into the draft. It looks like Piers Dompe is giving the calls here on FA Schnitzel. what they will pick as first. We have Angelo, Colette, and Melody Band on the side of Schnitzel, Meeple, Hank, and Chuck Band on the side of Dark Eagles. A lot of the brawlers we just mentioned, Panda, are out of the way. Meeple, of course, now also very, very strong. He got a recent balance change, and it certainly helped him move up in the meta. With the first pick, Penny, Dark Eagles certainly has a good foundation.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And I see that the 8-bit's also open with the Colette being taken out as well. Might not be a bad idea to go for the 8-bit. And like I said, they just get picked up here. We still have another option here, Barry, which is definitely an oppressive presence in the map, and Juju as well. So we haven't seen those being picked up yet. I feel like a Juju might be a decent pick because I don't think you can go wrong with a thrower. I think I know the script, Sunny.
You seem to have read it before, even though they told us not to do that, Panda. Don't leak anything to the viewers. No, that was actually just a very good shot by you. Juju, we mentioned it before, she can do long range damage to the safe. She's still a very strong thrower in the current meta. Didn't really hurt her too much that so many others now got their hypercharge. When she gets it, it's just going to be a crazy Juju meta once again. Of course, against 8-bits, you want to play something to get rid of the turret as quickly as possible. Mr. P could have been an option here if you don't want to destroy any of those blocks, but Bell I really like as well. Just bouncing between the 8-bit and his turret, also his teammates, is going to help Dark Eagles a long way here. Last pick, they need something with a lot of damage output. Ember, area control, damage is there. Once she gets onto save with her gadget, she will be able to do a lot of damage. Schnitzel, for me, still has the better comp, simply because, as we talked about, we want a lot of control. And with Juju and 8-bit, they have so much damage output. They have all the control in the world, also from the right-hand side. They can even go Piper as last pick. 2 long-range brawlers now.
That is certainly a choice here. I like the Amber pick because, like, if Bell can't really get to the 8-bit, the Amber Firefield is going to be taking out the turret. So that's definitely a decent option here. Bell as well, since you have multi-targets with Juju's Grigri and 8-bit's turret, decent options here. The Piper, I feel like, is a little bit of a wild pick, but they finally do have a little bit of range to take down the Bell. So 8-bit's probably going to be playing very passively at the start, allowing Piper to really take control of the mid here. We go into game number 1 between the side of F.A. Schnitzel and Dark Eagles.
Heading into this match, we see that Bogdan decides to take over the mid with his Piper. 8-bit is going to play lane. For the side of Schnitzel, they really just want as much of the map control as they can have. The other side really just wants to collapse over the save, do as much damage as possible in the shortest amount of time. They really just need to get on the save once with a good penny turret, with a good Ember burn plus gadget, and they could win this one. For now, it looks like Schnitzel is taking over the lead very soon, since they have their first 8-bit turret and they're very good in position.
Ooh, that 8-bit turret's almost taken out here. Audrey getting a little bit of a shot here, and the bounce shots do take out the turret. He gets taken out as well. Master goes down in a Dompe, so he's able to hold the line here. So far, no damage on either safe, but a lot more control on the side of F.A. Schnitzel right now. There's going to be a lot of fire fuel in the mid, so it's going to be a hazard for Bogdan. He can't really go out in the mid here, Sonny.
Problem is not only on Bogdan though, also on the other side. Dark Eagles can't really go over the water there on the left-hand side with the Ember, with the passive that Dompe has on Juju. He of course can just close the gap between themselves and the high save as soon as this penny is down, but Rissa is doing the impossible, dodging both Bogdan and Dompe. And with only 1 minute left on the clock, Panda, not a single scratch has been done to either of the saves.
That's true. Dompe going very aggressively. He wants to take down the penny, but he's not going to be able to do that. Bogdan gets taken out as well. Dompe goes down as well. Audrey, the last one alive on his team, has to hold this line, has to keep control for his team. Otherwise, it's going to look really bad. Master gets taken out, and that is exactly what Schnitzel need, a sigh of relief.
That was beautifully played by Audrey there on the left-hand side. He survives it in the end, takes the takedown. Bogdan, of course, helped him out a little bit. Audrey only loses his turret, but he can't be too far away with his next one. We also need to keep in mind now, every single brawler has an unlimited amount of gadgets now. Only the seconds with which they recharge are going to be differing depending on how strong a gadget actually is. 15 seconds left on the clock now. The bell traps are in place, so Schnitzel can't really walk up there through all of these bell traps from Xerox. And Dark Eagles trying to collapse now. As I said, they just need to scratch the save once. They could win this one, and they will take it in the end. Only 10% taken from their own save. Dark Eagles take the first round.
Yeah, that was beautifully done by Dark Eagles. He just kept on holding control, not really capitulating to the pressure that Schnitzel was bringing to the table, and they finally were able to execute. It is interesting to see how this one goes, because I think that it's definitely possible for FA Schnitzel to take the second game, but they have to be very careful about how they go about doing this one, Sonny.
They will have to adapt their strategy a tiny little bit. As I said, they need full mid control throughout the whole entire game. They did manage to do so, apart from the very end where Schnitzel really, lost their footing in mid, and Dark Eagles takes the lead in this one. Of course, we are in a best of three, so we're just waiting to head into the map again.
Okay, we're gonna go back in a game here between Schnitzel and Dark Eagle. Seems like a lot of time has passed, but so far no damage on either safe here, so that is definitely a bit concerning for the side of Dark Eagles, because they want to be moving up here at some point. Audrey's already been marked down, so he's going to be pushed in the left-hand side, and they're really bullying Audrey on this left-hand side here, Sonny.
You have your eyes on Audrey. I have my eyes on Bogdan, who already has his hyper charge ready. Again, only 1 minute 20 left on the clock, and none of the teams was really able to close the gap between themselves and the high save so far. But with that hypercharge, Bogdan is going to be able to make an aggressive play, advance, and Audrey now gets taken out. Could eventually do some damage. It's going to be Dark Eagles once again taking the lead early with that bell shot that comes out of Xerox. But these are the only things they really were able to do so far.
Ooh, hypercharge coming in from Bogdan. He gets taken out. Farisa with his own, the turret is going to do a massive amount of damage on the safe, and it's already looking terrible for FA Schnitzel as the side of Dark Eagles have complete control and are just hammering the safe. It is down half health here, Sonny.
Down pass to full back, Bogdan very low as well. Still shooting though. They need to push out of their spawn. They only have 30 seconds left on the clock to do and return the favor to Dark Eagles, taking away of their high saves HP. Audrey trying to do so, misses the save with that shot. Has to focus on Farisa for now. 13 seconds left on the clock. Bogdan trying to push up here. Audrey as well with a nice gadget. He actually manages to do a lot of damage, but it's still going to be Dark Eagles in the lead here. 5 seconds left, 3. It's not going to be possible for Schnitzel to turn things around. Dark Eagles not only takes this second round, but also the map.
Indeed, very well played by Dark Eagles. I feel like they had the worst comp, I would say, but they came out on top. They played it really well. I like the penny pick. The hypercharge really did come out clutch for them. But honestly, I would say that they played well together as an absolute unit and didn't give FA Schnitzel any inroads to making any sort of concerted control of the mid.
I mean, who are we to decide who has the better comp in the end? I would have said if they would have played it a bit more carefully, if they would have held on to control a bit more, Schnitzel could have certainly win this one. But the way that Dark Eagles played this one worked out perfectly. In the end, they made their comp work better, so they have the better comp.
I mean, that's certainly one way to put it. That is true. Let's see how it plays out in set number 2, because Dark Eagles showing us that they know how to play as a team. It doesn't matter if you have a better draft or not. It just matters that they have the better positioning, that they have the better communication, and get those pinches that they require. So I'd say very well played by the side of Schnitzel, but Dark Eagles are definitely executed at a higher level, which is why they got that. We're going to go into our second map, and it is a bridge too far.
Xerox is a player that I certainly will have an eye out for now. He played that mid matchup perfectly. He didn't have an easy task against a Piper. I think we would all agree that Piper has an easier matchup into the Bell as vice versa, but he somehow still managed to get some taps onto save every now and then. Also, I mentioned it during the cast already, with the unlimited gadgets now, with the 6 bell traps he put down in mid, there was no chance for Schnitzel to move up onto high save. So those gadgets also influence the meta quite a bit. I'm eager to see if any of those GZ strats are going to come out also now in Bridge Too Far.
It might, but like what I wanted to talk about, like you said, there were 6 or 7 bell traps there, but Dark Eagles didn't give Schnitzel any opportunity to actually trigger the traps. If you noticed, they didn't really get up in that area at all, and it was just very sad. But on the other side, we have Piper as well, and she has like I think 6 or 7 curves that she could have used during the course of the game, and I didn't really see it being utilized to that level that it probably should have been. So I was a bit unfortunate for the Piper there. We're gonna go into the second set here on Bridge Too Far. What do you expect to be some of the more common picks here, Sunny?
Hit. I'm just kidding. We're gonna probably see Melody banned or picked up again. I really like the Bell idea. Could work here as well as any single long range brawler that comes to your mind, really. Piper could be an option, Byron, even Lou. RT, of course, could be an option, and then Brock and Cold that are just shred the safe whenever they get close to it. I do expect a lot of these brawlers to be banned out. In past times, Panda, we also saw quite a lot of tanks picks here. We saw Daryl comes paired with Byron. Maybe even Barry could be an option to play together with a BB. Any tank that can move up the lanes. Again, I just don't really feel like it's the time for tanks right now. As I mentioned, we're going to have a few long-range brawlers banned out. It looks like a pretty similar ban phase so far from both sides as we just seen on Safe Zone.
Yeah, I think that these meta picks are really good. We have the inclusion of Chuck here, Eve as well. So I think that these brawlers are definitely one of the more oppressive brawlers that can really shut down different ideas that you're bringing to the table. Piper is a really decent first pick here. I can't really go wrong with Piper, but it's going to be facing off against Nani, which as we know has arguably better range. But Piper, now with the amount of gadgets that she brings to the table, might actually be better than Nani now. Lola is going to be picked up by the side of FA Schnitzel. That's going to give them a lot more control of the mid, and just the amount of damage that is going to be coming out of this brawler is going to be crazy. Amber coming out to, I guess, remove a little bit of the grass or just take down the Lola, or possibly other options here. Bell is also going to be being brought out. We saw how Dark Eagles did in the previous set with Bell, so it's not exactly unheard of for them to go with the same formula, because it did work for them in the previous one, Sunny.
I don't know if you're familiar with singing. There's a type of singing where you always just reply to the shout caller. It looks like both of those teams were just replying to whatever the first team picked. We see a Piper, Nani's the best answer to that. The Lola has one very good counter, namely Ember, and then Belle also works well against Lola. Just bouncing around between her Shadow and herself. The last pick then was the Mandy, I think, which is just a very strong brawler overall. Currently, we mentioned it before, with her hypercharge, with her ult, she can just hurt the safe from afar. A lot of long-range brawlers, the Ember and the Lola are going to be very important on both sides here.
Yeah, big shots coming in. We have more or less even matchups here, but 14% already being taken out of the FA Schnitzel safe. Dompe is not mid a bit against the Piper here, and along with Audrey, so it's taking two brawlers to really address the Piper. On the left-hand side, Masters completely got his lane unlocked, but Bogdan, asymmetrically on the other side, has done the exact same thing in his lane. With the walls being broken in the mid, it's going to be changing up how these teams play. Dompe finally does get his super, but gets burnt as well. He's going to be taken out, which is unfortunate, but luckily for the side of Schnitzel, they do take out Farisa as well.
That was really just a domino. On the right-hand side, Bogdan falls, Dompe falls as well. Audrey was the last man standing still, and with that, Dark Eagles takes over the lead here with a whopping 30% already. Another takedown now. Xerox really has the range advantage over Bogdan on the right-hand side. Schnitzel needs to look into switching lanes here.
Yeah, I feel like the asymmetrical matchup of the lanes is not really doing it in many favors. Double hypercharge coming in with Xerox and Furs are getting so much of value. They are trying to take down the safe in this one engage. Can they do so? They get the kill on the Dompe. Fire coming in. I think that is close to being taken out here. They just need to hold on to control just a little bit, but Farisa is saying no to that. He wants to go all in here, Sunny.
one man yield makes does 5,000 damage onto save, so a single man yield will already be enough. 2 bell shots, not quite enough yet. Xerox hits another shot onto save. It's now 2%. It's going to be over very, very soon. Schnitzel needs to push up. They won't be able to. Dark Eagles takes this one as well. They already win the first map. Now they're so close to making this one a 2-0.
That was crazy coming in from Dark Eagles. The synergy between the Bell and the Piper was just beautiful to look at. All of those traps being put down along with the curves really helped to take down members of the other team one by one. We're gonna go into the second game. Let's see if Dark Eagles are able to execute at the same level, or if Schnitzel have decided to adapt and go for the right lane alignments.
It's not going to be Schnitzel switching lanes. Dark Eagles made the change and it doesn't really work out for them. Audrey takes Bell down immediately. Can push up now, can do some safe damage. But Farissa and Master are doing the same. Master also put down his ult on the right hand side. Unlimited gadgets. Not only crazy on the Bell, as we can see, it also gives Master so much area control and
Indeed, Dompe is just missing all of his shots on Master. Master just allowed to go on safe here. Gets a lot of fire damage, is able to get the safe down as well with more fire. On the other side, the safe is taking a little bit of a beating, but not to the extent that Dark Eagles put on the opposition here. Dark Eagles have a 30% lead against FA Schnitzel, are now sitting pretty right now. Dompe has been playing defensive the entire time, Sunny.
He can't really do much else against the Ember now in mid. Dompe falls regardless. Only 20% left on the save of Schnitzel. And Dark Eagles is really showing us Brawl Stars at its finest, taking this map as well. 2-0 overall. With that, they already move on with the points today. This is the second loss, though, for Schnitzel.
Yeah, amazingly well played by Dark Eagles. They were just going from strength to strength. They knew exactly what they wanted to do with the composition that they brought out today. Didn't even need to go to set 3 to sell any scores. They were just dominating the side of FA Schnitzel. I think that Schnitzel had some right ideas, but the execution wasn't exactly the best. I'm sure that in the next match day, they're going to come back stronger. But congratulations to Dark Eagles. Commiserations to FA Schnitzel, as this is just the start of today.
It is so fun to cast with you again, Panda. I really think you didn't change that much. You're still using the same turns, and I'm just smiling from ear to ear to finally be casting with you again. This was a very fun match to watch, especially the second round. The first one was a little bit of a stomping by Dark Eagles, I have to say. Schnitzel looked a lot better in the second one. I think the huge difference, the key to why Dark Eagles won this one was just they poked the safe as often as they could, but they never really went down. Every single time they had a window to hurt the safe, they put a couple of shots on it and then just went back. Survived it, whereas Schnitzel just died a little bit too often.
Yeah, that is completely true. It was just beautiful to see the execution coming into play today, Sunny. We're going to take a small break of about 2 minutes as we come back for our next fixture between Eclipse Art Esports and LC Esports. Hello, everybody, and we are back. It is day 2 of Heist of the GKR 2025 EMEA Brawl Stars circuit. Phase 2 is right now. It is our second match of the day. It's between Eclipse Art Esport and LLC Esport. Eclipse Art, as you can see, have Biso, Marco, Sabim, and LLC are fielding Alan, Ciro, and Ramika.
Day 2, match 2, and both of those teams can take their second win today. Eclipse Art last week won against their opponent Schnitzel, and LSC won against Dark Eagles. Of course, we know both of those teams. All 4 teams that we have seen, or will see in the next few seconds, are in Group B. So we're going to start with that today. Afterwards, we're going to head into Group C and then Group A. If you're interested in that, you can... there's a command so you can type in Panda's chat and you will see the bracket and everything that's going to follow today.
Sure. Just a second, Sunny. Okay. Sorry about that.
Okay.
The maps are still going to be the same for every single fixture. It's going to be Safe Zone, Bridge Too Far, and Pit Stop.
Pit Stop we haven't seen so far. Safe on Bridge Too Far. Already played out by Dark Eagles versus Schnitzel just around before that. That was a very quick 2-0. I kind of hope this one isn't gonna be one, but we'll see if probably the favorites here, LLC for me, will take it. Against Dark Eagles, they dropped the set last week, but they still looked so strong.
Yeah, for sure. I believe LLC Esport also beat like the likes of SK Gaming in the qualifiers and Totem. I'm not 100% sure if they did beat Totem, but they beat some crazy teams, which is something to note. LLC should not be slept on. I think they are a team which can definitely be in the top of EMEA in the months to come. So keep your eyes open and peeled for them, not just in GKR, but also in the Brawl Esports scene. Eclipse Art obviously goes without saying that this organization is very good at identifying good talent which can possibly make their way all the way to World Finals. They don't have the same roster that they had last year where they made it to Worlds, but they definitely do have that DNA to get the right people. So wouldn't be surprised to see this team also going that far or doing that well, Sunny.
You are completely right. In qualifier 3, you can look that up as well at the link that we have posted in chat. They won against SK Gaming and Humble. Both teams, which are 2 teams that we all know from Worlds last year. They also made it into the monthly finals early this year already. They beat 2-0. LLC takes the lead here against 2 very strong teams, only to then lose in the finals of the qualifier against Foot Esports, but that's still a very successful story so far. I do believe they should be taking out Eclipse Art Esports today. Maybe the 3 Italians are going to show up with something new today as well. Going to show new brawlers, new strats, and can beat even the likes of LLC.
It certainly is possible. This is esports. It's unpredictable. Some teams might just pop off one day, maybe they don't the other, but it's all about consistency, but it's also about prevailing in the face of hardship. And let's see how this happens here. I just love this visual, Sunny. It just is so stunning, and it really encapsulates how much Brawl Stars really brings to the table as an esports scene.
We are going to look at this visual a lot today, since, as you mentioned, we're going to have all 3 maps rotating over and over again. Every single match of today is going to follow the same order. So Safe Zone, again, our first map. We're already going to see now if those 2 teams maybe let themselves be influenced a tad bit by what the previous 2 teams have picked. So we would see Melody bend out, Angelo, those 2 bend out all the way, even in the second match too, or second map. Then maybe Juju picked up. Piper works out pretty great, as well as Bell, of course, on the side of Dark Eagles. For me, the MVP in the previous matchup. We're going to see if those brawlers are going to be picked up again. Little side fact, by the way. I had a little pro player face in my days as well, and both Sierra and Alain have been tryoting with me in my freelance or FA area. 2 very good players, so I'm not really surprised to see them now I, of course, deviated my stride a little bit. I'm now in casting and hosting, but they continued training every single day, and it truly pays off. Again, they beat Humble, they beat SK Gaming in the qualifier. Now Eclipse are esports. Their situation is looking pretty dire. They need to have a good draft now.
Certainly so right now. We have our bans. They're going to be Melody, Angelo, Colette, Amber, Crow, and Chuck. Pam going to be picked up first by LC Esport. That is certainly an interesting pick here, Sunny. I don't really expect Pam to be a first pick, but, you know, we should let him cook. Let's see what they're going to be bringing to the table.
That's very interesting. That Pam just disappeared. Penny, of course, makes a lot more sense. I do like that pick a lot better. As I mentioned before as well, Melody and Angelo are going to be banned out once again. Colette as well, probably the best damage dealer that you can have in Heist right now. And we're going to have an interesting draft regardless of the Pam pick not being picked up. We're going to have Eve and Daryl, two brawlers that we haven't really seen so far today. Daryl, as I mentioned, used to be one of the best brawlers here, as well as the Eve. She, of course, can also walk over water, but the Daryl is going to struggle if LLC Esports goes with something with a lot of damage output. And 8-Bit heard what I just said, I think. He feels like that was his calling. Against the Daryl, he's going to have a great time.
Yeah, certainly so. We know once these turrets go down, oh my god, Barry's going to be coming out as well. So it's just going to be a lot of sustain in the mid. Barry's just going to be outputting a lot of damage as well once he gets his hypercharge. The 8-Bit's just going to be alive for a lot more time. That's going to give him opportunities to get his turret more often and possibly even get the hypercharge turret. On the other side, they go for Brock, which is certainly an interesting pick here. Yes, Brock can do wonders, but like, can it hold itself against the opposition that it's facing here in the form of Barry, 8-Bit, and Penny? And certainly, I don't know. Daryl, on the other hand, can't go for the safe here, but if he does so, I think that 8-Bit can reply in kind on the other save. So, you know, it really does come down to how these teams decide to execute this one, Sunny.
The thought behind Brock certainly was to break up the map. That helps against throwers, helps against the 8-Bit turret, and also helps against the Penny turret, taking those out as quickly as possible. Of course, there's gonna be that little block on the right-hand side that they can't destroy on their side, but everything else is gonna be broken up by the Brock, as we've just seen here. Right from the get-go, they open up their mid, is gonna help them in the long run. Zero has nowhere to place his 8-Bit turret behind now, and with that, Eclipse actually takes over mid control quite early.
Yeah, that is true. Ramika already gets his super because of the hammer and the 8-Bit. Has to use his super heal up the 8-Bit even more. Daryl's going to go on the save. Gets a lot of damage. In fact, gets 34% on the save. And there is even more damage coming down. Zero trying to take down Marco. He does manage to get the mark. There is going to be a super here as well. The turret is live. He's using the boosted booster, opting to go for more damage instead of the speed, which is required by this specific game mode because of the objective here. Marco popping the hypercharge, goes in for Alan. Can he find the shot here that he's looking for? He does with the help of Biso. And so far, it's looking pretty even here, Sonny, with 76 to 62.
Timing on that Brocco was a bit unfortunate. He wasn't in hypercharge anymore when he hit it. Subimi trying to go in now with this Daryl onto save. Doesn't really manage to do any more damage, but the Eclipse are still sitting in a quite comfortable lead. Marker just chipping down the same from afar, still staying alive. Remiko hypercharge ready and popped. Zero pops in now as well. That's going to be the chance for LLC to turn things around, but with Remiko falling, it's not going to be a lot of damage that they get out of this chance.
Ooh, Alan did a number on the other team here. Biso as well low, has to be pushed back. Marco in on a Remika, able to auto aim 3 quick shots, take him out, and he's 6 feet under. There is going to be a super for Marco. He can clear the wall, but Sabim is just looking to get his super and roll on in. Zero is going to try to do some distraction. Zero has to go in on the defense here. It's not going to be enough as there are shots being peppered by the Brock, and that is enough for the side of Eclipse to take game number 1 with not that much of authority, but definitely a lot of contention, Sonny.
I really like what I saw from Eclipse this round. I think we both agreed that LLC has the better comp here. We like the 8-Bit idea against the Daryl. Penny is one of the best brawlers on this map overall, and then also the Barry should be able to keep his 2 teammates alive so they can charge their supers and deal a massive amount of damage onto save. Eclipse somehow just shut that down completely. They never really let Zero come close. With breaking open the map, both Ellen and Zero didn't have anywhere to place their turrets behind, and they seem to do it again. 20% already taken off of the safe. It's shrinking down even more. Great ult coming out of Marco. Remika in a 1v2 here. Does survive barely, but can't really push up.
Remiko getting peppered again, so he finally finds a kill onto Marco, just being such a bully on that berry here. There is a 39% deficit, and it's looking very bad for LSC as Eclipse are once again going in very aggressively. So being trying to find the kill on the Remika, he does find it, and he gets some damage on the safe. He does go for some incidental damage. Hypercharge being popped by Marco. He's gonna go break open the turret on this left-hand side to ensure that Zero doesn't get as much value, with Biso getting so much of value with his hypercharge here. And once again, it is the side of Eclipsar with full control. The hero going in on the safe. He's going to be able to take it out here. 1% left on the safe, and that should be enough for Eclipsar to take it, Sunny.
When in doubt, just send Marco up, and he will be able to do some damage. Biso tries, does manage to take the last percent of the safe. Eclipsar takes this very first map in a 2-0 fashion. Again, Panda with the seemingly weaker comp. We clearly just have no idea.
I mean, I guess at the end of the day, it's not as much about the composition as it is about like the teams coming together and playing together. And I think that Eclipsar just showed us that I mean, the draft is certainly very, very important. Skill is also very important, but communication and teamwork, because it is a team sport at the end of the day, and it is showing us, and they're showing us that it is so important to be good with your communication, good with your pinches, and the execution was just perfect on the side of Eclipse. Or LC need to pick up their slack, need to pull themselves up by their bootstraps if they want to get a win against this Eclipse side.
We used to say it's always 70% draft, 30% gameplay, maybe 60-40, something like that. The draft is just very, very important in Brawl Stars, and it gets even more weight the more brawlers we have in game. We now have above 85 brawlers in game. I did think LLC should have been able to win that one. It didn't work out for them. The execution of Eclipsar was just too good. So LLC, don't let your head hang too low for now. You are going to have another good draft, hopefully on Bridge Too Far. Maybe you can turn things around. And of course, Panda and me would be happy to see a set 3. Maybe we get to see Pit Stop today as well.
Yeah, for sure. We're going to go in Bridge Too Far. We saw it being brought out in the last fixture. We saw a lot of Mandy, 8-bits, Pipers, Nanis, etc. So wouldn't be surprised to see some similar picks coming out here. Let's see how this one plays out. I just have to say, I love this visual. We're going to keep seeing it, and it's not going to get me tired. I'm just going to be enjoying it every single time.
We're going to be in awe of what we see on our screens here. Bridge Too Far, beautiful map, beautiful backgrounds that we don't really get to look at usually when we just see the top-down view of Brawl Stars. Bridge Too Far, once again, I guess Angelo, Melody, and Colette was the last one. 3 are going to be high contenders to be banned out once again. In last round, it was Eclipsar banning them away. All 3 brawlers would be so strong on here on the side of LLC. This time around, we're actually going to have the Angelo and the Melody. They banned out a couple of long-range brawlers. And Chuck is banned out again. Panda, I just disagree with that. I don't think Chuck is that good anymore. But okay, we had him banned out in 4 out of 4 matches so far.
I think it's not that Chuck is good or bad. I think they just don't want to deal with that strategy where Chuck facilitates a lot of just dive compositions. And I think that a lot of teams are just done with that. We have Piper coming out on the Eclipsar side, LLC going for the Colette and 8-bit. I think that this duo makes sense because if you pick the 8-bit, Colette's going to be open, and since it's not banned out, it could be a pick for the other team. So picking both the Colette and 8-bit makes sense so that you don't get countered by the opposition. Lola's going to be coming out on the left-hand side. And I think that Lola is a pretty decent pick. You have a lot of sustain, a lot of damage as well. Without the Penny being brought in the 4, it's definitely good. And again, they're bringing the same kind of concept with the 8-bit Colette. The Lola Bell pick makes sense because one is that the Bell is going to be good to ensure that Lola doesn't get a soft counter, but Bell is also great into the 8-bit because of the turret. The bounce shots are going to be a big hazard for the 8-bit as well. You compound that with the number of bell traps that you can put down now in the new meta. It's just a very good draft from the side of Eclipsar.
LSC could have followed the footsteps of Dark Eagles, now following up with the Ember against the Lola. Worked well for Dark Eagles, but LSC is going to go with Brock instead to open up the map to help the 8-bit move along, and probably also to get Piper out of the way. Piper and Bell are going to have a pretty easy matchup into the 8-bit, at least at the start, as long as 8-bit doesn't have his turret. So far, I think we can note down, whenever Penny or Colette are open and not banned out, you want to pick them up. Whenever there's an 8-bit on the field, you're going to go Bell as an answer. And Brock is just super good right now.
Yeah, I'm going to be interested to see how this one plays out. As we go into game number 1 of the second set, Eclipsar took the first one, and Ramika already popping the gadget onto Biso here. He wants to get him back and possibly get a super, obviously, because of the safe damage. In terms of the objective here, there is a better comp for the objective specifically because of Ramika's hypercharge and also the 8-bit as well. So LSC Esports have a lot of threatening potential, and they have control as well. So it's definitely a very, very testy composition for Eclipsar to face off against, and the safe getting peppered as well. Lots of damage raining down. 28% already being claimed against the Eclipsar safe here, Sunny.
Marco, who was playing Brock in the previous round, now facing off against the same brawler, struggled quite a bit in mid, finally got the takedown, but did get a lot of save health taken off of his hands. Marco survives in the end here, jumps out of the way, opens up the map as well, and is now switching with Subimi. He's now facing off against Zero, and Ale against Subimi in mid. Bell versus Brock. I would say usually Bell and Piper should have a good matchup here, but Ale's playing it phenomenally. Now finally going down though, but they still have a 10% lead.
Yeah, Ramika gets tagged by Sabine. Sabine with the auto aim there, getting all the shots there. Alan with the hypercharge starts to get some value on Abiso, not able to do so. Gets tagged up by the hypercharge from Sabine as well. Another shot. Sabine just on a mission here, just taking names and writing them down, just killing people left and right on the right hand side. Marco breaking up the walls to make it sure that Zero can't really move up. It's just a complete open lane, so Marco just needs to connect these shots if he wants to get something going here, Sunny.
Eclipsar only need 10% and they would have equalized the health on the heist save. Zero going down on the right hand side. The 3 players of Eclipsar can now move up. They get those 10% in. Only 30 seconds left on the clock and they almost equalized. Now they're taking over the lead. LSC has to move up here to still have a chance to maybe prolong this round for a little bit. Maybe we get to see round 3 if they make this one, but it doesn't really look like it. Eclipsar took over the mid control once and they're not giving it back.
Yeah, 8 seconds left. It's now or never for the side of LSC Esports. Sabine, though, not really putting his foot down. Oh, it's going to be enough for the hypercharge super. Ramika is able to get that win. And just like that, LSC Esports are back in this game here.
And that's exactly, ladies and gentlemen, why you ban out Colette right now. With a single hypercharge ult, she can turn around the complete flow of a match. LSC takes this one, and as I mentioned, if they take this map, we might get to see another round. We might get to see map 3 pit stop today. LSC, I certainly liked what they showed us in this one, but overall, like the most part of this match, Eclipsar was in the lead and they looked so strong. It was really just a Colette in the end.
It really was. They were lucky that they got the hypercharge when they did, so that worked out for them well. Sabine, though, was just an ace marksman, just taking down both Ramika and Alan, holding onto his lane. Marco also did a great job. I wouldn't say that Eclipsar did bad by any means. It was just that one play with the hypercharge which ended up giving them the win, and that's what matters at the end of the day. Once again, Sabine clearing out the mid, getting a lot more damage on the safe. On the left hand side, Ramika gets taken out by Biso. So good start from Eclipsar once again here at Sunny.
The lane switch that they did, putting the Piper on the 8-bit and the Bell onto Brock, seemed to help. Subimi has a lot better time against Alain mid. He is able to push up here, and the Eclipse are already taking off 40% of the heist save in a great lead here, looking a lot stronger even than in the first round.
Yeah, it's definitely looking great here. Ramika is taken out despite using the gadget here. Marco really getting the better for Ramika in most of these situations and interactions. So Zero going to be taken down as well. Alan takes down Sabine, so it is a little bit of detente in the middle, but so far Ramika going in against Marco is not able to get the better of him in that situation here, and it is just back and forth and back again, Sunny.
It really is. Speed on the left-hand side, quite low, has to fall back a little. Zero still waiting to get his turret to finally push onto safe and return the favor. It's not a single scratch that LLC has taken off the safe so far. The blue team really pushing them back into spawn again and again. Sabime, every time he gets close enough to hit another shot onto safe, he will use the opportunity, falling back to survive, but always still trickling down that safe. Alan gets tapped up here, hypercharge popped by the bell, and of course he's back in spawn once again. 20 seconds left on the Puck Panda, and it doesn't look like LLC is gonna ever leave spawn today.
Yeah, it really doesn't. They don't have a hypercharge on Ramika. They aren't in position. They've given up altogether. We just see the number of bell traps here. It was just so difficult for Alan to really compete in the mid. I gotta say, master class in how to play this specific map coming in from the side of Eclipsar. As we go into game number 3, it's also match point for Eclipsar Esports, Sunny.
Those were 7 bell traps on the map. That's just pure cheese right there. I didn't really see Bell coming into the meta that strongly, but honestly, in a match that has such a duration, such as a heist map in competitive, I really think Bell is going to be one of the best brawlers you can possibly pick.
Yeah,
just imagine a kid with his sneaking gadget couldn't do anything against those bell traps.
That is true. Ramika going very aggressively, pops a gadget, gets taken out. Biso with his Megalomaniac on the left-hand side. Ooh, there is a trade, though, on the other side. Alan gets a kill on a Sabine, which is huge. Marco hammering the safe on the other side, but it is pretty even. 9% differentiates these teams here as Sabine has to work to regain control, and that's exactly what he does. Alan peppers the safe a little bit with the incendiary, but it's still not enough to give them the lead as Marco once again goes in, gets a lot more damage. Can Sabine find a little bit more in terms of control on the top left side, but he is helping out Biso to get that lane open. The mid is open for Sabine, but you can see that he wants to ensure that he doesn't give Biso an upward battle because Zero is there. Zero can definitely abuse that fact, Sunny.
Boom is playing out of his mind right now. He's completely putting pressure down on his mid lane, but also somehow managing to control left and right. Ramika and Zero can't really move up right now. Zabim is helping his teammate on the left-hand side. That Ramika doesn't even get his super. Zero doesn't get his 8-bit turret. He does get it now, however. Let's see what he does with it. Ramika stands in the 8-bit turret, just needs his own super now to get the most potential out of it before it falls. On the right-hand side, it's just a 1v1. Marco trickling down the save slowly and steadily, and Eclipse are probably taking this one once again. We're looking at the stats at the top right, 0%. Eclipse takes this one, 2-1. 2-0 overall. They take both sets with ease, it seems. Eclipse are taking the point for today.
They just stamped it with their authority. It was just crazy. Eclipsar Esports just going from strength to strength. They faltered in the first game of the second set, but at the end of the day, it didn't matter. They knew exactly what they needed to do. They ensured that they had control for the majority of the game. In the second game, it was completely a wipe from there. And it just feels like their competition couldn't really do anything here. LLC Esports were just playing second fiddle to the Eclipsar side. It was just crazy. We're going to go into our next game, which is going to be SK Gaming versus IDI. But what are your final thoughts about that that second fixture there, Sunny?
I just want to remember again, LLC actually beat Humble and SK Gaming in the qualifier. The team that we're going to see up next, SK Gaming, of course, who lost 2-0 to LLC, and Eclipsar just completely destroyed them in a 2-0 manner today. I do believe we're going to see a lot more coming out of LLC in the next couple of weeks. The group stage is still going to go on for quite a bit, so don't stop believing in them. Eclipsar, though, very strong team. I also have my eyes on them.
That was a beautiful fixture as we go into our third fixture of the day, which is SK Gaming versus IDI. But before that, we're going to take a short break of a few minutes. We'll see you after the break. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to GKR 2025 EMEA Brawl Stars Circuit. It is Phase 2 and Day 2 Heist. We are on our third match of the day, but for the first two were between FA Schnitzel and Dark Eagles, where Dark Eagles won, followed by Eclipse R Esports versus LSE Esports, where Eclipse R won 2-0. And now we're going to have SK Gaming versus IDI. SK Gaming obviously have Joker, Yashi, Ope, and Pedro. IDI have Mikus, Gyro, and Bobik. Bobik, if you guys were in the last stream, was the guy with the camera sideways. So that was pretty interesting. And a lot of Mikus fans in the chat. So I'm pretty interested to see how this one plays out here. Obviously, overwhelming favorites here are going to be SK Gaming, the German side. So when I say German side, I mean the organization. So it is going to be interesting to see how this one plays out, though, Sunny.
It is indeed. We have a clear favorite here, but so far we have been surprised today quite a bit. We learned that Panda and I don't have any idea of what the current meta could show us, apart from the bans we got sometimes right. But whenever we said this team, they just got outdrafted so heftily, they're going to lose this one, they won in the end. Eclipse R made it happen, even though they clearly had the worst comp. But we have 6 times the same matches today, the same maps as well. So we're going to learn by the end, I hope, Panda. We're gonna know which brawlers are very strong. Safe Zone, for example, so far every single time Colette, Angelo, and Melody have been banned out, I do expect that to be the case again.
Yeah, for sure. That is definitely a possibility. Safe Zone is one of those maps where I think we can reasonably understand what some of the more meta picks are. It's just because of how these walls are in the mid along with the water. So it shouldn't be surprising to see some of these bans, as well as some of the picks that we've seen. We've seen how good 8-Bit can possibly be. Cola as well. Bell was one of these picks which are so strong in the last 2 matches that we saw. But SK Gaming, they like to play it very clinically, very efficiently. We know how Pedro likes his team to operate, and with Joker and Yashi and Ope, it's going to be interesting to see how they decide to really collapse on this team. It is going to be stress testing the meta for all these teams just now, Sunny.
SK are, of course, the winners of the very first monthly final last month, this season of the BSC. And IDI, 3 players that we haven't really heard about that much. To be honest, I don't know any of the players, but therefore I'm going to be looking forward even more to the draft and the skill set they're going to show us today. Sometimes underdogs can indeed beat those very strong teams, very well-known teams, as we have seen in the qualifier 3 as well. SK lost to LLC. It's definitely possible for IDI to do the same today.
Yeah, it's certainly in the realm of possibilities here. I still love how there's that one totem on the back right with the tick on the head. It's just sorry, with the kit on the head. It's just so funny to see, like right here. I just love it. This is beautiful. I love the production being done by this GKR side. So congratulations and thank you once more to GKR. I'm just so at awe with
for this beautiful map that you're showing us today. IDI did win their map against FA Sniggets last week, so that was a very strong showing of their skill set already. SK, of course, took their win as well against Humble. It was 2-1 overall. So SK Gaming last week had a very strong opponent, a very well-known opponent as well. For today, I don't know if they're prepped as well, since we have the first batch of hypercharges in the game now. 6 hypercharges have come out. The meta has drastically changed. Also, because now we have new gadgets. We have gadgets that you can literally use however or how often you want them to use. It's just going to differ in the amount of time they use to recharge now, but it's not anymore limited by a little number. You can't only use them 3 or 4 times. As we mentioned before, Melody, one of the strongest brawlers right now, is going to be banned out. Colette as well. And we've learned before as well, whenever Penny or Colette are open and not banned out, you want to pick them. Penny is going to be picked up by IDI.
Yeah, and then we have Carl and a Bell on the other side. I like these picks. Bell, we've seen so good. Carl as well with a hypercharge. They did change it so that it does more damage output, per tick, so that is definitely a decent option here. Along with the gadget change, there are more than 3 flying hooks that the Carl can use, so you're gonna see Carl probably being on the back right corner of the map, just annoying the side of IDI. Angelo is going to be picked up. Angelo, classically a very good option on this map. It's quite the long range mid here, along with all the poison and some of the squishier targets like Bell. Is certainly a decent option here to be brought out. Along with the water on the map, it's really good. Juju's still open, but Daryl's going to be picked up by IDI.
I do like the Daryl this time around a tiny bit more. We hated a lot on him. We said tanks aren't really in the meta right now, but it did work out before. It can for them as well, especially since they already have great long-range brawlers on their side. With Angelo, they have probably the best brawler on this map simply because of the water. You can play him on the right-hand side. He can just walk over it. He has the range that he needs to just tap the opponents, keep mid control, and then also tap the safe from afar, always falling back to stay alive. SK Gaming wants to open up the map with Griff, was the last pick there. Bell is also going to have a good matchup into Angela, I believe. If you hit more shots than your opponents with 2 long-range brawlers, that's just usually how it goes. You win. So we'll see who will take this first set. I do believe IDI has a comp with which it's possible to win this matchup.
Certainly is possible, but I want to see how SK Gaming play this one. I feel like the Carl pick is definitely a decent one here. It's gonna be interesting to see how it's executed on this SK Gaming side as we go into game number 1 between SK Gaming and IDI. Already the flying hook being used by Ope, and the perspective is flipped. So SK Gaming is on red right now, guys.
Yep, SK Gaming usually in purple, now in red. We keep that in mind. SK Goat is OP, by the way, playing on the left-hand side with the Carl. Heat ejector gadget probably equipped is going to help him to trickle down that safe even quicker. Again, no limits anymore. Also those spell traps. We're going to see a lot more of them in the previous 2 matches. We saw 6 or 7 on the map usually.
Yeah, I think that the production is just changing the perspective so that everything is consistent. So apologies for that. It is going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. We saw the Daryl being the only member alive on the side of IDI in that interaction. So maybe there is going to be a little bit of a hammering on the SK safe. Can't say for certain just yet. And we do finally have our perspective back. It seems like SK is still on the red side. Gyro is able to keep Joker at bay. He's going to be taken out here. That is the question. It seems like he does get the kill onto Joker, but gets taken out by Yashi. Great job from Yashi. And slight lead for the side of IDI here.
We actually didn't miss out on too much. Both of the saves have gotten a beating so far, a little bit at least. Mika's on the left-hand side trying to go up against Ope. He rolls onto him, gets the takedown. Survives thanks to his shield as well. Already super ready again. Just waiting for his health to come up again. Hypercharge as well. This is going to be Daryl rolling onto SK Gaming save anytime soon. Actually, never mind. He's going to go back to defend the Carl. Do not quite agree with that decision. SK Gaming takes over the lead.
And I mentioned earlier on that Ope is going to be so annoying as the Carl on the bottom left side. The little cubby here is just going to facilitate so much more damage. And it seems like IDI don't really have the best answer to that sort of strategy. They have to ensure that he can't get in that position, but they've already taken a beating, 50% behind SK Gaming. We have the hypercharge coming in. Miko's gonna seek it out almost immediately. There's another hypercharge, and Ope is going to be taking down that turret as well. So all of that value what they got with the hypercharge is completely obviated as Ope goes in once more for the distraction play and is going to be on the safe. And it is just perfectly executed by the side of SK Gaming as they take game number 1 in flawless fashion.
SK Gaming shows up once again what they can do. They have a good comp here in their hands. I do definitely believe IDI has what it takes to maybe even take this map. At least one of the games would be nice to see. But in the end, SK Gaming just tapped a little more, played it very aggressive. We usually don't see that come out of SK Gaming, but especially Ope on the left-hand side just made so much pressure with his Carl that even the Daryl had to fall back and defend him. Usually not what you want to do.
Indeed,
Same thing happens again.
Miku's going in once more on Ope. This time he is able to address him. 11% has been taken from the IDI safe, so it's not exactly the best flawless defense from their side, but so far it's better than the alternative, which is completely taking a hammering. Ope goes in with a flying hook, gets a kill on a gyro, gets a kill on a Mabo as well. He's going to be completely under rest on the safe. He's just healing up a little bit, has a hypercharge as well to boot. Joker going to be on the back line here, just getting a little bit more damage on the safe here as Ope trying to position himself to do something here. He hits the super, he goes in, gets the damage, not using his hypercharge just yet. Want to keep it for a better opportunity as Yoshi goes in against the Angelo, gets taken out. Gyro, great job there, but so far Joker just peppering the safe, and that safe is taking a beating there, Sunny.
Yes, of course, with the hypercharging car, you usually want to go on to save, do as much damage as possible, burning him down, as Ope just did right now. SK Gaming taking this in a very quick manner, 2-0 overall. We have a 1-0 in our hands in the best of 3, so SK Gaming only needs one more map and they take this one. I do have to say, the Carl hypercharge, compared to many others that came out last week, was a bit underwhelming to me, but in Heist, it certainly works out.
We're going to go into our second set here. The first one was Safe Zone, but the next one's going to be Bridge Too Far. It's going to be interesting to see how this one's going to be played. Obviously, we saw how efficient SK Gaming is with their compositions and their synergy and how to really play the compositions to fruition. IDI kind of faltering here. They are not as sure of themselves, so it's certainly going to be a class in temperance and how to get the right sort of headspace to face off against the SK Gaming side. As we know, they are the monthly finals champions, so it is certainly a tall order for RDI to beat them. But you mentioned earlier that LLC has beaten SK Gaming, so it's not a task which is impossible. They have to firm themselves here, Sunny.
What was very interesting to me here is that, as we mentioned, Melody, Angelo, and Colette have been banned out almost every single round so far. SK Gaming left many of those options open. Colette was actually banned out by their opponents. Angelo wasn't banned out at all, was picked up even, but it didn't really matter to them. SK seems to have a pretty good understanding of the current meta already after just 1 week, and they know exactly what they want to play. They have seen in the previous matches maybe as well that Belle is just so strong because of her traps that she can put down, 6 or 7 in a whole entire round, which makes her unbeatable really on lane. You just can't pass this lane anymore if you don't want to get slowed and probably beaten up by the Bell in following. Bridge Too Far now, 3 lanes. Again, long range brawlers are very strong here. I don't think Daryl is going to come out of the side of IDI again. So yeah, we're going to see if those brawlers are going to be left open again. Colette and Angelo, Melody as well. The 3 best brawlers probably on this map.
Yeah, that's certainly true. I just like the way SK Gaming has been playing this one. They don't really look at the compositions that they're going to be going up against. I mean, obviously they are, but like when they're playing, they're just looking at their utilities and trying to get as much value out of their utilities whenever possible. We saw how Ope right at the start uses a flying hook to get in position, which makes it harder for any brawler to get that left lane advantage that they possibly could have got. So I like how they use these small little things to shut down the opposition repeatedly. We are in Colt and Piper for SK Gaming with Colette on the other side, so they're going for a little bit more in terms of the damage. I think that they are pretty confident. We have Ope, Yoshi, and Joker. I think any of them can really play Colt that proficiency which would be required in competitive. Nani's going to be brought out. We know Nani is a really good option against that Piper here. Colette, I think, can still be answered because Colt does outrange it, as does Piper. So I think that SK Gaming aren't really sweating the draft right now.
I am very scared for the guys on the side of IDI. I see SK Gaming, all 3 of them are laughing. This is never a good sign usually. It seems like IDI took the bait. They're betting out to Carl, and SK Gaming clearly had a plan in mind. Also left open the Colette, as I mentioned. For me, Angela, Melody, and Colette probably the best brawlers you can have in Heist right now. SK Gaming decides to leave one open, and IDI just takes the bait completely, picking her. And I now really want to see what the last pick was on the side of SK Gaming, what they have as an answer to this very strong comp of IDI. Like, I have nothing to say against the Nanny, Colette, or the 8-bit. All three brawlers are so good on this map. But it seems like SK is super happy with how this draft went. Bell as last pick, once again, a perfect answer to an 8-bit. Overall, two very strong comps. SK just seems to think they won this draft.
Yeah, I mean, the comps are definitely both really good. I can't really fault either team for the composition, but I think the proficiency on those brawlers is what is going to be coming down to as we go into our first game in the second set between SK and IDI. SK took the first one, so they are definitely confident, along with the fact that they're monthly finals champions, so that's something to go by as well. Joker getting a lot of those full taps here. He gets a full clip as well. Joker getting the shots off on and safe, and also getting Miku's down. So I like the way the SK is playing as a team. All the pitches from all three lanes onto another lane. Beautiful stuff coming in from SK Sunny.
Okay, so Mikus needs to focus on shooting instead of emoting. That didn't help him so far. It's going to be IDI completely pushed back into spawn. At least it's quite a cute emote, I guess. But Mikus, you need to focus up on your mid lane. Yoshi is giving him a lot of trouble. The nest eggs coming out of him as well. The 8-bit is not going to have an easy time crossing that mid lane now. Being tapped up also by the super, taking a lot more damage. Hero on the left-hand side trying to win his matchup against Joker, but so far not a single brawler on the side of IDI was able to push through.
Joker, just with all those full clips, he pops the hypercharge, gets so much of value, gets a kill on a Miku, gets a kill on a Gyro as well. Joker 1-on-1 man recognition, and on the safe, he's going to be hammering it down 35%. That is absolutely crazy by that man on the left-hand side.
I have to say, Bridge Too Far is probably one of our heist maps with the least amount of strategical play and more just win your lane and you win the game. And it seems like SK knows how to do that. Exactly. With the bell bounces onto safe, Mikus is gonna get taken out. Goat on the right hand side. Ope on the right hand side is gonna jump in. Gets a takedown of his lane as well. Falls in the end. That's the chance for IDI to push through. They need to rush it now, or they're not gonna be able to turn things around here.
I'm just laughing at the number of traps by the bell there. We saw Miku's going down, but he got slowed once more, and we have a hypercharge coming in. He has his turret. He uses the cheat cartridge to get into a better position here. Not using extra credits on heist is certainly an option here as they get the tags off and he gets taken out. So all that hypercharge was just shenanigans, nothing really amounting on that. Here on the right hand side, we see Joker going up against Mabo, gets the kill as well. Left, we have Gyro not doing much here. Joker just with authority on this goal, getting so much of value, gets taken out though. 4 seconds left and there is nothing, not even a prayer that IDI can really do where they get out on top here against SK Gaming.
I have to say though, to defend IDI here, they looked a lot better in the second half of that match. If they would have had the chance to push in a tiny bit earlier, they maybe could have turned things around here. In the end, they also took quite a hefty chunk of SK Gaming's heist save, and I do believe they could have won this one if the match only had started a bit better for them. We'll see how they're going to start out now. They didn't really switch any lanes, but SK did. They now have still Bell against 8-bit. Joker is going to be on the right hand against Nani, and she can't really use her gadget against him. So SK making the lanes even easier for them.
Lots of shots coming in here. SK Gaming in a very good spot. Ope going backwards a little bit. Yoshi gets taken out, so finally a little bit of control in the mid. There is going to be a turret coming on the right hand side, but Mabo gets taken down, so not much value here. Miku's gets tagged as well, has to move back here, so not really the best start coming in from IDI, and SK Gaming playing this flawlessly once more, Sunny.
Joker on the right hand side gets the takedown, so close there, 200 HP on him. On the left hand side, Styr is just dead and tapped up. They need to realize that SK switch lanes and need to switch as well. The Colette is not going to have a good time against the Piper. 3% only on this high save left. Joker with an ult is going to completely demolish that high save. That was a very quick 2-0 from SK Gaming. Congrats to them. They take their second win on day 2.
That was just crazy from SK Gaming. I just have to say that the MVP for me was Joker. He was just so crazy with that goal. Connecting all of those full clips was absolutely crazy. Ope as well, just, doing Ope things with a Carl in the first one, with a Piper in the second. And Yoshi, he just kept his range. He just put down all of those traps and made it a nightmare for Miku's in the mid. I just have to say it was absolutely perfect coming in from SK Gaming and IDI. I wouldn't say they played bad. They just didn't play as well.
In the end, 2 of each group are going to make it into the playoffs on the 8th and 9th of April. So IDI still sitting comfortably in that second spot. They did win their match last week against FA Sniggets, so it's not too bad that they lost today. SK, of course, is probably also going to be one of the strongest in their group. Humble, though, is also in Group C. So far, not a single win on them because they lost to SK last week, but that could change now.
The world champions are going to go up against FA Sniggets in 3 to 4 minutes after we take a small break. So thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you in 3 minutes. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to GKR 2025 EMEA Brawl Stars Circuit. I am your host, Panicast, joined by the amazing Sunny Enough. We've seen 3 matches. That is half of the match they completed, and now we finally have Humble versus FA Sniggets. Are you looking forward to this one, Sunny?
I am, of course. I mean, we already saw SK Gaming, the winners of the last monthly finals, and then Humble, the world final winners of 2024. 2 very, very strong teams against players and teams that we don't know yet that much about, but that could change anytime. They have, of course, the perfect opportunity to show what they can do today against Humble, Yannick Cyanide, and U4O. Yannick, of course, also the only Swiss player, I believe, in this whole tournament, so I'm, of course, rooting for him, my boy. But yeah, they're definitely the underdogs in this one. Humble didn't even change their roster compared to last year. Semantic, Luki, and Boss have a lot of time spent together already, playing the game, scrimming, thinking about strategies, and they definitely have the upper hand in this one as well.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's certainly true. And this Humble side, they did take a beating in the last monthly finals. They lost to SK Gaming, and they lost to SK Gaming once more in the last match day. So not something that they want. They want to have I guess, the DNA of just being champions, and it's all about protecting the belt this year. So they don't want to take any losses, but let's see how they play this one. They have to play with authority. They have to show us why they're the world champions, and I think that they certainly can do it. But all the teams that have qualified for this tournament here aren't teams that you can really sneeze at, because there are only 12 teams participating in phase 2, but hundreds and hundreds participated in the qualifiers. So certainly they are some of the 12 best teams in EMEA. So can't really sneeze at Sniggets, as they are going up against the world champions here.
If you followed the last week, you also saw that Luki and Semantic especially are just grinding everything out of ranked. Probably didn't have that much time to scrim, but they still learned the meta, of course, by just playing the game as much as like 8 hours a day, probably way more. Probably I'm giving them a bit of a too good view right now. Yeah, they just played a lot of Brawl Stars. They, of course, should know the meta by now. It's only been a week since the hypercharges came out, since the gadget change came in place. You now not only have them 3 or 4 times, you have them an unlimited amount of time. The only thing that differs is the time they take to recharge, depending on how strong the gadget is. We already saw Belle is amazing, phenomenal, incredibly crazy on Heist with 6 to 7 Bell traps in mid. Safe zone is going to be impossible to pass if you give the Bell enough time in mid, enough time to place her traps.
That is certainly true here, and I just have to say, this Humble side, they just play to their strengths here. So they're going to be looking to clean this one in draft itself, because we know how good they are with the their composition and everything. And I think that a lot of the, wow, I'm stumbling my words. A lot of the pro players are playing together as their whole roster when they're playing in ranked, in the new ranked updates. So you have rosters going up against rosters across the world at like Legendary 3 and Legendary 2 right now. So I'd say that right now the best way to possibly get practice in is just do ranked, and all the pro players are playing ranked right now. I think probably in a week or two you're going to get more scrims coming in once the content is a little bit older for them, so once they reach that pro player tier. So that's what they're looking for. We are going to go into our draft. Penny was the first pick coming in from FA Sniggets, with Bell and Barry being picked up by Humble. We know how good Barry is, and Bell, Lukey, sharpshooter, it's a match made in heaven, Sonny.
It truly is. They also follow the same rhythm again. They're going to ban out Angela, Melody, and Colette. So far, the most picked or banned brawlers today. And Penny is going to be picked up by FA Sniggets. So far, they didn't do anything wrong. They probably left Bell open because they thought Penny could get banned out as well, and they really wanted one of the two. But leaving Bell open probably wasn't the wisest choice here. Piper is going to be a good answer to the Bell here in mid. They just need to tap more than Lukey, which is not an easy task. And they even take some inspiration. We know that Semantic deems Lily as one of the best brawlers. At least he did before the changes last week. Gonna pick up that as last pick. Also a brawler that we haven't seen so far today. I'm eager to see how well she's doing now. I believe that with the gadget chains, she actually got quite a hefty nerf. You can't just go in press your gadget, go in, kill someone, and get out with the gadget again. You wait a lot longer to get that gadget back.
That is true. Draco is going to be picked up last by Humble. It's going to give a lot of sustain, a lot of damage as well. It's going to be certainly interesting to see how that one plays out, though. Draco has a lot more survivability than most brawlers, especially with the gadget. And now that you can use more than 3, or more than 4, rather, it is certainly a very, very oppressive option, especially when you're trying to hold control. Draco just breaks that completely, just innately with how much HP and its skill set.
Sniggets played against IDI last week, did take a set, but not the win in the end. Cyanide now trying to go in, press the gadget, go in, doesn't even get the takedown. Barry's heals are just too crazy. Lukey doing a phenomenal job. So far Lily doesn't seem to work out with her going down. They also look mid-control here, and Humble can potentially very soon take the first save damage right now. Samantha trying to push up here, get some shots up onto Cyanide, and is not just standing on safe, trickling it down.
Yeah, it is crazy in the amount of damage that they're doing right now. Luki just keeping Semantic healthy, hypercharge as well coming in. Semantic is still alive. He is at full health, and that is just crazy. Luki finally gets taken out by U4, but Humble have just beaten that safe. We've seen the penny given up here, and that's going to be game number 1 for the side of Humble in dominant fashion.
That draft is really just a bit unbalanced, I'd say. It really seems like Humble knew exactly what they want to pick, and they also got it from them. They, of course, could have changed their Bell with any other long-range brawler, but the Barry and Draco is probably something that they have scrimmed like that they have played on ranked, and they know exactly how to play. We switched sides here. Don't let yourself be confused by that. Cyanide now in blue, trying to push in again, but again, it's not going to be enough damage against that heal coming out of Luki's Barry.
Yeah, Luki just getting so much of heals on a Semantic and keeping himself alive as well, just completely bullying U4. And he goes in for the hypercharge as well, getting a lot more damage on the safe, getting a lot more heals on a Semantic, and they are very comfortable. They are happy with how this is playing out. Another super coming in. Luki gets kill on a U4 as well, and Semantic is still alive with full health here, Sunny.
Yannick seems pretty mad there. Doesn't get to take down onto boss, just dropping a pin and his turret defensively. U4O trying to defend, but this is going to be over. Humble takes this one 2-0, a very, very quick game, but it's not yet over, Yannick. We see him here. It doesn't look too happy. FS Nuggets can still turn things around on round 2. We have Bridge Too Far coming in now.
Yeah, it certainly wasn't the best situation for Sniggets there. They got completely stomped, I would say, like a steamroller from the side of Humble. They just played it perfectly. The synergy between that Barry and the Draco was just chef's kiss there. Can't really complain about how that one played out. On the side of Sniggets, I would be remiss to say that they weren't really in that game the entirety of the game. Once the Lily went down at the start, that was the only time I felt like Humble were pressured, when Lily used the gadget to get into their faces. But they were completely able to shut down that Lily in that first engage. And then after that was basically all history, Sunny.
I think if they had something with a little bit more damage output, not a Lily that goes in and can't really do much against those 3 brawlers bundle up like that, maybe a Carl, maybe Colette would have been perfect. Of course, was banned out. Belle, they could have used her as well, left her open to for Humble to pick up. They just needed something with more damage than a Lily. She just really wasn't the pick, I think. Piper and Penny actually did fine, in my opinion. Bridge Too Far now. Long range brawlers. They certainly have to ban out Angelo here again. Colette was banned out quite often. And Melody so far today, I don't think we have seen her a single time open. She wasn't picked up because she was just banned every round. Yeah,
I think that's what they want to ensure that they don't have to face. We see a thematic ban from almost all the teams. They don't want to have matches where it's just completely down to safe rushes. You don't have any Melody, you don't have any Chuck. So they want to keep the game in a situation where they can control it. I feel like if there's a Chuck, you automatically have to disengage from the Chuck and engage on other opponents. So if you ban out the Chuck, if you ban out the Melody, you can dictate the flow of the game, or rather your skill set and your communication dictates the flow of the game. So I can understand why these brawlers are banned and the rationale as to why teams decide to do that.
I know Yannick's favorite animal is a penguin. I want to see Mr. P now. It's probably not the best idea on Heist, but hey, just to cheer him up a little, let's see what they're going to pick out as first one here. Of course, Melody and Underl are going to be banned out again. Colette would have actually been open, and they don't go with Colette. They go with Eve. I don't know if I agree with that one. Penny is open as well. Of course, going to be picked up by Humble now. Imagine if they get Penny and Colette. They have so much damage output.
I see Semantic smiling, and it looks kind of devious, so I wouldn't be surprised to see something like that. They decide not to go for it. They go for Piper instead. I think they just want to hold true to their strategy at the start itself. I think that they aren't really reactively responding to the draft. They're taking something that they are comfortable with. The nucleus of the comp makes a lot of sense to me. Penny has a little bit of range. Piper definitely with a turret as well is going to be very distracting. Carl coming out, I like the Carl pick a lot. Maybe not the best option in a lot of scenarios, but if played well, it certainly can be quite distracting here.
It can be. I don't know if it's the best choice for a Penny matchup. Piper could, of course, also play the knockback gadget. Then Carl would be even worse. Doesn't have anything to help himself out of a situation where he's in an ult. And the gadget can just take him out of that. Colt is going to be the last pick. I do like that one. They have a lot of damage output now. If they now had, for example, Colette, Colt, and Eve, they could just try and rush to save. There's much save damage as possible. And as long as Humble doesn't tap with the Piper, they could have an easy match here. With the Carl, they're going to struggle quite a bit. Colette could also decide to not play the shield star power and instead play the push it star power to knock Carl out of super. And then he can't really do that much damage, especially with his hypercharge as well. He just wants to dash onto save, spin, and do as much save damage as possible. I kind of believe Humble has the better draft here, but I would be very happy to be surprised today by FS Snickets. Maybe they take this set. It would be the very first time. Actually not. They already made it into round 3 last week too. But it would be the first time for them beating Humble.
Yeah, Semantic already dispatching this U4 on this left-hand side. Boss gets taken out, and already we see Humble taking 19% against that Snicket's save. So really good start from them. Flying Hook being used by U4 to get into position. They're completely leaving Semantic unaddressed, but Semantic deciding to go back here to help out his teammates. Obviously, you don't want like a safe base rush here, as Boss going in on the right-hand side gets a kill on a U4. That's going to be huge. That's going to alleviate a little bit of pressure. And for the first time ever, Snickets are in the driver's seat in this one, Sunny.
They are in the lead for now. Semantic trying to push up aggressively, trying to get his ult. Yannick dodging perfectly. They just don't want Semantic to get his ult as it now. Yannick knows he has to get rid of the Colette as fast as possible. Only going to be Boss on the high save now on the side of Snake. It's only 2% of difference. Humble about to take the lead here. Semantic with an ult, probably also close to hypercharge. That's why he doesn't use it just yet. Gets the hypercharge, waits for his health to come back, falls instead. But it's Humble still in the lead right now. Only 10%, but it is a lead.
Before aiming with the hypercharge, he's going to get a lot of damage on the safe here. Yannick on the other side as well. Going to get so many of his babies on the map. Can they get a lot more on this safe? And that's exactly what it seems like. And it's looking like Humble might just take the L here. There is an opportunity for them to do something. U4 going in with the flying hook, gets the damage here on the safe here. That's going to be enough. And just like that, Snickets take game number 1 of the second set. Look at the smiles from the roster. I completely agree. Take your smile, but you have to be certain that you can defend the next one, Sunny.
That was phenomenal. FA Snickets somehow make the impossible possible, take the lead over Humble, and they're about to prolong this one, actually. They need a reverse sweep to make it all the way to get the point for they two, but they're looking very strong with this comp. They somehow know how to play it, and I think, Panda, we've proven once again that we have no idea about the crew mess. Whenever we say, the comp is just really not working out, they somehow make it work.
See, the only thing that's true about esports is that there is caster's curse. Casters don't know what they're talking about 90% of the time here. Yuko going in with a flying hook, gets the super as well, gets a lot of damage on the save, and already Humble are in the back foot, already capitulating 70% against the Snickets side, Sunny.
Semantic in mid, once again trying to get his ult, using a gadget to push up aggressively into Cyanide. He still gets a takedown. Cyanide is playing that matchup perfectly, and there's only 15% left of the save of Humble. We only need one more push out of FA Snickets, and they made it possible. They prolonged into round 3, and we would see pit stop from them. Cyanide pushing up in mid again. Luki now in mid. They are switching lanes, and they're reacting to what Humble is showing up against them. They're playing it perfectly.
Oh, wow. The hypercharge from Cyanide dispatches Semantic. Yannick goes down, though, but Cyanide doesn't care. He has the hypercharge still popped, and that's going to be enough for them to take that set. Oh, my God. That was crazy from FA Snickets, Sunny.
That just gave me goosebumps. Honestly, Cyanide, you can give yourself a pat on the back, mate. That was amazing. Well, we just saw from them. Also, of course, his two teammates played phenomenally. They made Humble look all in this one.
They certainly did humble them.
Yes. Oh no, Panda is back.
Panda is back. Hey, we're gonna go into bridge too far. Sorry, not bridge too far. It's the first time we're gonna go into this. The third set. It's pit stop. So it's gonna be interesting to see how this one plays out. Maybe Humble is gonna be a bit more reactive with their draft this time around, because we know that Sniggets were reactive. I gotta say, the Carl player on Sniggets was so good with his gadgets to get across the lanes, which in a matchup that he wanted, because there were lots of times there were misalignments and we saw Humble adjusting it for themselves. And then we saw the Carl player just swapping lanes just to make sure that they get the right lane matchups that they wanted. So beautifully played by the side of Sniggets. They really showed us how to play against a superior team, but in a very, very dominating fashion. And it wasn't even a question. It was more a statement that they were going to win.
If you just look at the brawlers, I still believe Humble had a comp that should technically win their matchup, but FA Sniggets had to just scrim and train the comp that they just played. The Eve worked out perfectly. The Colette can't really handle as many of their babies that Eve was putting on the map. It just really seemed like they completely overwhelmed Humble's defenses. Whenever they pushed through, and took over mid control, they wouldn't get themselves pushed out again. We're heading into pit stop now. This is, of course, the wrong graphic we're looking at right now. Safe zone. Pit stop, a map that we haven't seen so far today. I do believe throwers could be a lot stronger on this map than on the previous two. Safe zone and bridge too far are very long rangey maps, whereas pit stop, we could even see a Dynamite, a Juju again, Barley, all could work.
Yeah, it's definitely possible in pit stop, but I have to note for people who maybe not be initiated with the ranked recently, Heist is not in ranked, so we don't actually see teams getting any practice from ranked by playing. I mean, there's no Heist practice at all, so any practice that you have has to be in scrims, and we know that pro players like to experience the new rank. That means a lot of streams, a lot of playing it like for 24 hours, 8 hours, I don't even know. So you don't have as many scrims. So I don't think we're going to have as many prepared teams for this one. Hopefully, though, we do see some of the newer teams coming out and showing us how good that they possibly can be as we go into our draft for this one, Sunny.
We're heading into pit stop drafts for the first time today. We see a lot of the same old story. Melody is going to be banned out. Angel, of course, you don't have to ban here. It's not a very long-ranged map. Barry's going to be banned out this time around by FS Sniggets as well as Hank. So they are definitely reacting to what Humble was showing in previous matches and during this entire week of ranked push. Rico is going to be picked up by Humble. I do love this brawler in this map. Pit stop wasn't a competitive map pool 2 or 3 years ago, and Rico has always been a mainstay on this map. Ruffs, of course, for the same reasons, really good here as well. You can just bounce those shots on their 2 lanes and win those easily. No throwers so far. With Edgar and Miko banned out by Humble, I do believe they are looking into picking one up there.
Yeah, this makes a lot of sense to me here. Ruffs can break walls as well, give a lot of value to the team with a supply drop, with a hypercharge as well. Griff is also great for breaking walls. Just the amount of damage, the output that Griff can bring to the table is insane because of the cashback. It just has spread damage and pierce damage as well. So not really confused as to why this is brought out. Rico, great for all of the bounce shots and whatnot. It's going to be interesting to see what's going to be picked up. Carl's coming out. We know how good Carl is. We saw, I believe, U4 using the Carl really well in the previous match. So I can see Carl being used to get the flying hook, to get into important positions to make some sort of plays. Stu as well is really great for some of the squishier options on the other side. It can also get across the map with a hypercharge, just completely bully teams as well. You're probably going to see the breakthrough coming online as well. But it's going to be interesting to see how Rico is going to adapt with the map completely breaking up as the game goes by, Sunny.
Ruffs as also Griff can both break up the map, so you're definitely right. Rico's not going to have the best of times at the end of this match. Stu and Carl, however, are shining. The longer this match goes on, probably Stu can also, of course, also break up the map, and also makes it impossible for Sniggets to pick up a thrower themselves. So even though, as I said, I do believe throwers are quite good here, both of those teams picked up something quite early to break up the map to make it impossible for their opponent to pick one up. Boss is going to be the last pick from FA Sniggets. Again, like with the Lily, an interesting idea. I don't know if it will work out. I really don't believe that tanks are this good right now. I kind of think it's just a direct answer to the Carl on the side of Humble. The idea that, of course, came from SK a round ago. They brought in the Carl here as an idea, and so far, Carl has a 100% win rate today. But yeah, Boss maybe can stun the Carl out of ult. Otherwise, I don't really see why you would pick him here.
That's a lot of damage being done by Boss in the safe there, along with his gadget and the super as well. Youth are going to be taken out. Stumantic coming out once more. We haven't seen him play Stu for a while, and it is certainly beautiful seeing that being brought out once more. Yannick gets a kill on his opposing side here. Boss on the left-hand side, just keeping control on the player over there. Yannick gets taken out here. Lukey and Semantic going in aggressive here. Sunny, it might be the safe being taken down.
Semantic with hypercharge, dashing across the whole entire map, getting some safe damage done as well, and a single scratch on the Humble save so far. I think it's really struggles with pushing across the map. Yannick now with a hypercharge. There could be an opening for Sniggets to push up here. Griff, of course, is going to open up the right-hand side now, enabling his teammates to go in even more aggressively. Boss going to get taken out by Yannick on the left-hand side. They're running out of time soon. When Humble gets just one more time onto the safe, it's going to crumble down.
For sure, Yannick goes in on the stun. He gets a kill on a Boss here. He's going to go on the safe. Hypercharge being popped by U4, and they're just hammering that Humble safe, but they are still behind by 50% as Semantic going in aggressively. Tries to kill there. He gets taken out by Cyanide instead. Hypercharge being used here by Lukey. Gets taken out as well. It is an impeccable defense from Cyanide, but it's not going to matter if they're still behind in the safe damage.
Lukey looks so dangerous though with the hypercharge ready. Heat detector also on the safe. Hypercharge now also on Boss, trying to get any connection, but doesn't really find any. Cyanide ulting Lukey there. They're just defending with everything they have left here, and Sniggets somehow still are alive. 30 seconds left on the clock now though. They need to push up and get some damage on the save themselves now. Boss with some long range shots onto save. Trickles down the save of FA Sniggets to 8%. Make it 1. And this is going to be over soon now. Humble takes this one 1-0 up. But we saw Sniggets turn things around in the previous match as well, so they can certainly do that.
Yeah, it is match point for the side of Humble here. Sniggets need to pull themselves up by their bootstraps if they want to get a win here. They did do it in that second set, so it's certainly possible for them to do so, but we see Humble here out for blood. They don't want any erosion of the prestige that is Humble. They want to protect the belt, and that's exactly what they're going to be trying to do here. Semantic gets taken out by Cyanide here, and Yannick gets taken out by Boss. Humble is on the safe. Lukey and Boss getting a little bit of damage here, but Boss has a super, is going to annoy Yannick. Yannick trying to do something, but can he get the stun? He gets it. Boss gets taken down, and there is a flurry of deaths here as Lukey is able to get the heat ejector on the safe. Semantic still alive here, Sonny.
Such a nice and patient play on the left-hand side from Yannick. He completely dodges Boss's ult, gets a takedown in the end, but then can't really defend the other two. Semantic and Lukey still doing so much damage onto safe already. 45% taking off of the safe of FA Sniggets, and we see much of the same. Just like in the first map, or the first round of this map, FA Sniggets not able to close the gap between themselves and the opponent's high safe, not taking a single scratch onto it. They really, really struggle. They're just defending in this one.
It seems like Semantic's job isn't even about doing safe damage. It's just about taking out members one after the other, and that's exactly what he's doing. Yannick gets a kill on a Lukey, though. That's going to be huge. As Semantic goes in with a hypercharge, Yannick misses one of his super, misses the second one as well, and that is a certified bronze 3 play from Yannick on that buzz.
It almost looks like Semantic is trying to give them a chance. He doesn't shoot to save even when he gets the chance to. He's just defending his opponents to push up the map here. Yannick gets a takedown onto Lukey. Only 37% left on the save of FA Sniggets. They need to push in soon. They only have 50 seconds left on the clock, and I'm yet to see this boss pick picking up.
Yuki going in here. Hypercharge being popped by U4. He's trying to get a little bit of damage, but not able to do much. Yannick missing another super hypercharge being popped by bots, but gets taken out. U4 on the save, but he gets taken out by a little bit of a recoil shot, while Luki finishes off the save on the northern side. And that is going to be enough for the side of Humble to take this one against Sniggets.
Honestly, it's so sad to see. We always love to see underdogs strive. They almost won their match today against Humble, the world final winners of last year, of course. A very strong opponent they had to face today. They did lose their nerves after the loss in the first set, won the second one, and then in the third, it all came down to, yeah, frankly put, an awful draft once again. I don't really see how that boss was supposed to work out. Don't really agree with that, as well as the Lily in the first one. I think we can say it was the draft problem from FA Sniggets, so they can still improve a lot for the next couple of weeks.
Ooh, the next picture is going to be huge. It's Reply Totem versus Papara Supermassive, but more on that after our break of 3 minutes. We'll see you guys after. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to GKR 2025, the EMEA Brawl Stars Circuit. I am your host, Pandacast, joined by Sunny Enough. I hope that you've been enjoying yourself today in the chat here. I know there's a lot of commotion. I know that there is a lot of excitement, but we are equally excited here, Sunny.
I am looking forward to the last two matches that we still have today. We already breezed through the first four. It was truly quick. Only one of them went to the very last set, and it wasn't any of the ones that I thought would be close. Humble lost the set to FA Sniggets, which I think they're not going to be quite happy that they didn't take the win overall in the end, but FA Sniggets can still be very proud of themselves. Taking a set of the previous World Finals winners, I don't think that's too bad. We're going to head into Reply Totem versus Papara Supermassive now. Another matchup that we could say has a clear favorite.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Reply Totem just so strong. We have this team of Angel Boy, Maru, and Mori facing off against Filippo, Salty, and Tomzy. both these teams are really good. All of these teams, I believe, have been at international lands before, some of them in the world finals as well. So definitely not teams to be sneezed at, definitely worth their weight in gold. We're going to go into safe zone, followed by bridge too far and pit stop, but I am interested to see how this one plays out. It seems like Totem are the overwhelming favorites, but with the meta change and the new gadget change, it is anybody's game, I think, here, Sunny.
It could definitely be. Totem played in the March monthly finals as well, but didn't have the best of months, the best of their capabilities shown off to us yet. I think they can do a lot more, and maybe this is the meta that they can finally shine in. As we mentioned quite often today already, we had 6 hypercharges added to the game, the first batch of hypercharges only. There's another couple of hypercharges following soon, and the huge gadget change. You don't have a certain amount of gadgets available right now. You can use them as often as you want, with a different recharge time depending on how strong the gadget is. So maybe this is the time for Reply Totem, but it could also mean that those young and upcoming players, as I would still call Papara Supermassive, even though, as you mentioned, we have seen them in quite big tournaments before, it could be the era of those newcomers.
Yeah, for sure. And Papara Supermassive is another org which is new to this Brawl Stars team, but it is not a new org to esports by any means. So they definitely know rosters that they want, so they picked up a really stellar roster which has a lot of promise to show us. And we are going to go into our draft here. The bans are in: Angelo, Juju, Meeple, Lou, Griff, and Crow. I think most of them are expected bans here. Crow, though, seems a little interesting. Melody is going to be picked up, and that is one which has been banned perennially in this tournament, but we finally see it being picked up here by the side of Papara Supermassive, Sunny.
I almost immediately screamed out that Melody isn't banned out. For the first time today, I really believe she's probably the strongest brawler to pick up on those long-ranged heist maps such as Safe Zone and Bridge Too Far. Usually always banned out by the team that had last pick. So naturally, Papara Supermassive are gonna pick Melody as their first pick here. Colette and Penny also both still open, not gonna be picked up by Reply Totem. So technically, they're open for the taking here from Papara Supermassive. Bell as well. Those 3 very strong brawlers that had strong showings today already, just out in the open. Reply Totem going with B and Hank. We, of course, also the clips by now. Hank pretty good thanks to his hypercharge. He can completely cycle his ult thanks to it. But I don't know if he's good on such an open map. I guess Totem is going to show us.
It's certainly a risk here, but I think if I'm looking at the Hank, he's probably going to be on the left-hand side next to the water and the walls, just to ensure that the other mid doesn't get as much value. But I feel like Barry is going to be good for that same position, because Barry is just going to be able to hit Hank from beyond. So I don't know if the Hank is the best pick here. B is certainly a great option. I'm surprised with how Totem decided to go for this one. They have this last pick. Let's see what they go for here, Sunny.
Why wouldn't you pick Colette into Hank though? If you have a tank counter open, such as Colette, you should probably pick. You're gonna go with Chuck as last pick. What a cheese comp. I am very sad if this comp is gonna win, not gonna lie. If Chuck is back in the heist meta, it's just gonna be ban Chuck, otherwise you'll lose. We'll see if he's still as good with the changes that have been implemented into the game last week. So yeah, Totem's comp, something we haven't seen so far today at all. All 3 brawlers not picked up a single time, which I usually like to be rewarded. I like the creativeness or the creativity that Totem is showing us today. On the other side, a bit more of a regular comp. We've seen all 3 brawlers so far already. At Melody, of course, now we finally get to see why she's banned out so often.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of reliance on Mori here. The B has to keep everybody at bay as much as possible. Angel Boy can just go up here. It doesn't even matter because he's going to be taking damage, but he's going to get his super nonetheless. Salty gets a kill onto Mori, but on the other side, Chuck is going to go on the safe. And right now, Papa Supermassive's way to win this is to be as aggressive as possible and get as much damage on the safe, and that's exactly what they're doing. Totem is taking a beating on the safe. Tomsy's still alive till it gets to 54%, and so far, Papa Supermassive coming out the victor in the first engage here, Sunny.
They are indeed. They have a 20% lead so far. Angel Boy with a super ready, just trying to get his hypercharge probably, as this is the reason why he's so strong in the current meta. Are trying to push up with Chuck, gets a little bit of safe damage in, not too much. It's still going to be Papara Supermassive in the lead here. Maru coming in again. Once this road is down, Chuck is super strong and nice.
Yeah, Salty gets taken down with his hypercharge, which is definitely not what they wanted. Once more, the Chuck going in, gonna get a lot more damage here. They have to make sure that they can't address the Chuck here, and they have to go in on the safe. And once more, Salty gets taken now. Ooh, Angel Boy with the super as well, and that's gonna be the side of Reply Totem replying very efficiently against this Papa Supermassive side. Game number 1 to Totem.
I am so sad. I mean, again, I like the creativity that Reply Totem is showing us today. Papara Supermassive had a super good start into this match here, really showed us what they can do against a very strong team such as Totem even. But as soon as that Hank had his hypercharge, as soon as Maru's Chuck road was down, they just didn't stand a chance. It was just slowly trickling down the save until Hank has hypercharge and it's over.
Yeah, and already Maru has set up on this left-hand side, so that's not that great for the side of Papa Supermassive. He goes in on the safe. On the other side, Salty doing the same, but he gets taken out here just a little too close to Angel Boy, and yes, eclipsed all of a sudden. And here it is still the side of Papa Supermassive with control, but anything can certainly happen as Filippo misses his hypercharge there, Sunny.
That hypercharge favored the high save almost. Salty now going in, getting a lot of safe damage done. Maru is on the safe up top, gets some safe damage as well, so we're in 60-60. Actually, Papara Supermassive taking over the lead, losing it immediately as Maru dashes up across the map once again. It really just comes down to, are Papara Supermassive going to be dealing more damage in the time that Maru takes to move up another 5 times?
Oh, wow. Salty pops his hypercharge, but Angel Boy just able to get the better of him here. There's 3% left on the side of Papa Supermassive safe, but one Chuck super is all it needs, and that's exactly what they're going to get. And Reply Totem with this composition takes set number 1.
Okay, creativity got rewarded today. Totem takes this first map. Safe zone is theirs. And a B, Hank, and Chuck comp might just be what we were missing so far today. We all thought that Melody was banned out every single round because she's simply the strongest brawler in this map. But against this comp that Reply Totem was showing us, it's not enough still. Bridge Too Far is going to be our next map. I assume Chuck is going to be banned out now.
I think so, because that was their way to victory. They couldn't really address the Chuck. But I have to mention, I like the way Angel Boy played the Hank. Every time Salty got his hypercharge or tried to go in, we saw Angel Boy locked in and hitting those Hank shots. I feel like Hank is one brawler where it's really difficult to hit those shots against moving targets like Melody, who can just rush in so fast. So really great job from Angel Boy to shut that down. So I think that composition wise, both teams had their merits, but at the end of the day, the execution was just Reply Totem all the way. Let's see how it plays out in the second one, which is Bridge Too Far, Sunny.
As you mentioned, Hank can be really frustrating to play, especially against moving targets, but also because you can't heal whenever you're charging your bubble. You can't hide in the bushes either. Hank just really has a lot of disadvantages to himself. Now, with the new hypercharge, it seems like it's a bit more balanced out. If you manage to get your hypercharge in time before the match ends, then you basically win the round. I do believe we're gonna see either a rework or maybe just a little nerf of that hypercharge coming in, but you all out there enjoy Hank as long as he's still so strong.
Yeah, I really think that Hank and Melody are not going to be allowed, or if Hank is allowed, I still can't believe they got away with a Hank first pick. I'm just gonna put it out there. They had the Colette as well. I'm still stuck on that first set.
Panda, chat is saying they should pick Kit. Why is that on Bridge Too Far? That's so weird.
I've never heard of that. Like, why would you pick Kit on Bridge Too Far? One Carlos.
We're heading into the Ralph now. Melody bend out once again. Choo-choo double bend. I don't see a Chuck bend. Oh no, I'm scared for Papara Supermassive here. Piper, Penny are going to be bent out. Colette open with that as well. So yeah, I assume Colette is going to be picked up here against the Lola. I would recommend either a Belle or an Ember. And the Belle is picked up here as first pick from the side of PSM.
I think that Bell pick is a really good one. It's a soft counter to Lola. It definitely does great against that Lola. Additionally, it's a good long-range brawler, and with the number of gadgets that it brings to the table, it's a death trap, a hazard in the mid, if you will. Carl being picked up, certainly a great option. And we go back to Chuck. Are we going to go back to Hank? Is it going to be Chuck, Hank, Lola? It might be. Or maybe they decide to go for something a bit more moderating. So Colette's going to be coming out here. I think that Colette is a really good option. It's good for a lot of the mid to long range matchups. It's good for the safe damage as well. And Cole coming out on the other side. So it's going to be all about diving versus keeping control for the side of Reply Totem.
I really like the comp of Papara Supermassive here. The Colt has worked wonders so far today. Probably not the strongest brawler in the meta, but on Heist he's still shining strongly. And Colette didn't bring Humble any luck either. They did have her in Bridge Too Far, but it just wasn't enough damage to outdo their opponents. So we'll see how that's going to go. Interesting stretch also picked by Papara Supermassive. They're going to double down on the left-hand side lane. An easy lane for them, therefore. They can just move through. Also feeding Mario though. Mario already with his third pull now. As soon as this street is going to be standing, Papara Supermassive just have to hurry up with their damage. Otherwise, the Chuck is going to win.
Yeah, and already Mori is being pushed back. Mario gets all of his lines up. He has a post put down and he's able to get damage in. It is pretty even, but it's going to be an hour and ever for PSM. They have to do damage on the objective, and it seems like Filippo might be lagging, but I'm not 100% sure here.
Oh no. It's such an interesting strategy. They just completely ignore that Chuck and just want to play a 3v2 against the other two. Angel and Mari can't do anything else other than defending, but they did a phenomenal job there. Defended well, so Mari could do the damage up top. So Totem's comp works out once again. They only need one more round and they take the win.
Yeah, for sure. We're going to go into our next game. It's match point for the side of Reply Totem. Papara Supermassive have to pull something out of the hat, a rabbit, maybe a dub, but that's what they need right now. Maru is just able to really unaddressed get his get his posts up and get into a position where he really gets a lot of value for his team. There are going to be some bell shots, so he's going to take a little bit of damage. He's certainly going to be going down. He tries to use his super there. Mori going to take him down, does get marked, as well as the gadget is there as well. And on the right hand side, Salty gets finally taken down here. It is a great start for Papara Supermassive, Sunny.
They didn't really change their strats. Again, they doubled down on one of the lanes. Tomzy, this time around, there stayed in mid all the time. I think in the first one, he's just tried to get out of the Chuck's way, letting him do his save damage and just 3v2ing on the save of Totem. Again, Papara Supermassive in the lead for now. Mari now with the street set up though. Mari with a Lola ult, Angel Boy trickling down the save as well. They still ignore it. They don't really want to defend right now. Papara Supermassive is just safe rushing.
Oh, I have to say, Mori's done such a great job of addressing the opponents on the left-hand side. And just like that, Reply Totem have taken this dub and taken this win and this match. And in a 4-0 sweep, they have taken down Papara Supermassive. Congratulations to Reply Totem. Commiserations to Papara Supermassive, Sunny.
Reply Totem was the most creative team, in my opinion, today, and they definitely paid off. They showed us a couple of strats that we haven't seen so far today. They showed us Chuck twice, and he really seems to be back in the meta. I heard a lot of pro players talking about him, saying he's not that strong anymore. You can easily counter him. But even with even with Papara Supermassive strat here, but just completely ignoring Chuck, they still didn't stand a chance in the end. The defense was just too strong, put up by Angel Boy and Mari there. Maru could do enough damage to give Reply Totem the win.
Yeah, and I have to say that was just beautiful coming from Reply Totem. I was a little surprised to see how Papa Supermassive kind of did get, I mean, not slept on, but get completely dominated. But they did have a right idea. I like the way that they tried to address the Chuck, but I feel like leaving the Chuck open and the Hank open and the Melody open was definitely one of the factors which made this fixture go way faster than the other ones. So I kind of appreciate Reply Totem for the dominance, but I think that, you know, PSM have a little bit more to go back to the drawing board to work on. As we go into our next game between Experion NXT and Reverso Gaming, we're going to take a small break before we get back there though, Sunny. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to GKR 2025 EMEA Brawl Stars Circuit. We finished 5 of our 6 games in match day number 2, which is completely heist themed. And now we have Experion NXT versus Reverso Gaming. Experion has Arthur, Amos, and Tex. Arthur is one of the more mechanically gifted players in the team. He's from Austria. Tex is also the drafter and IGL. And Amos is the all-rounder from Spain. I believe Inso is the coach here. So I'm not sure if you guys know who Inso is. He is the coach who took Zeta, the EMEA Zeta, all the way to World Finals and got them the dub back in the day in 2023. So definitely not a team to be slept on against this Reverso side of Ness, Ondi, and Roop.
I do believe Amos and Roop have played in a team before. At least they're both Spanish. They have certainly played in smaller tournaments together before. Arthur and Tex know each other a very long time. They have played for quite some time in the esports initiative together. Now with the addition of Amos, they are truly a very strong team. We didn't even get to see them last week, sadly. They gave a free win to Totem, I believe. So we're going to be looking forward to see what they can show us today in Heist. Nez, Andy, and Rope, of course, also 3 names that we know have always been kind of in the tier B to A scene. Maybe this is their great breakthrough today and they make it all the way to the playoffs of the GKR League.
Yeah, certainly tournaments like GKR, which are third-party ones, allow and facilitate more fledgling organizations and teams to really showcase their mettle against some of the more proven teams at the world stage, let alone EMEA. So it's nice to see that we have these sort of initiatives being done by esports organizers to allow and facilitate, and obviously for Supercell and all the sponsors for letting it happen. So thank you to everybody involved. But here we're gonna have some really good matches. Experion NXT and Reverso Gaming. I think that both these teams are relatively evenly matched, but we see a little bit of a flare from Experion NXT with the amount of experience that they can bring to the table in the form of Inso. So I am interested in seeing how this one does play out, Sunny. I think that it's not going to be a stomp by any means. It's certainly going to be an even one here.
Again, interesting also to have a look at the meta, have a look at the brawlers that they try to pick up today. Inso has been with Reply Totem quite a while ago. That was back when we were in Tokyo, Reply Totem taking the win there. And maybe he takes some inspiration from the comps that we just seen. Maybe we'll see something new. I think we've pretty much saw all the strong brawlers that there are in Heist. We saw a couple of brawlers that didn't really work out, like the Lily, like the Buzz. Is there a brawler that you're kind of still waiting for, Panda?
Mr. P, but I don't expect Mr. P to be here. I don't know. I think that I have all the brawlers that I like to see in competitive. Obviously, I would like to see a little bit more from the tank side of things, but you know, the tanks are kind of relegated in obsolescence with the current meta that is forming right now. The only time we've seen it is I believe when we saw Daryl being picked up, so that was certainly interesting, but we have more of the regular picks of the last few years coming out once more here.
We pretty much have seen all of the very strong brawlers in the current meta, even the Hank, the Bee, Juju, Stu, Melody has been picked up quite a bit. Bolt and Colette just mainstays in the Heist region. And what we haven't seen so far, maybe a Goss or Byron comp, but now you really just play Barry whenever you want a healer in your comp. We haven't seen Lou, just to give a bit more area control. Those 3 could maybe be brawlers I'm still waiting for. Meeple was banned out before. He also hasn't been picked up so far. Let's see if one of those 2 teams are daring to show us something new. For now, pretty much of the same. Angelo technically still open. I could imagine Experian picking him up next. They already have to Colette, who is, of course, a very strong brawler.
Colette being open is certainly an interesting pick here. Eve going to be picked up. I like the Eve pick. It has a lot of water that you can work with. Carl is an option that could possibly be used by Reverso Gaming, along with the fact that 8-Bit is open, but I think 8-Bit and a Colette not the best option. Neither is the Carl. Bell going to be picked up by Reverso Gaming. I do like this Bell pick. It addresses picks later on. It's a really good mid as well. Compounded with the Eve, I think that you can't really go wrong with Bell as an early pick in this specific map, Sunny.
And as you mentioned, it prevents Experian to pick up the 8-Bit comfortably. 8-Bit and Colette is a very good comp in any single Heist map, really. A very good synergy. It's going to be the Angelo here, as I mentioned before. He's now, of course, the better option into the Bell. A lot better matchup than the 8-Bit. Last pick could now be something more aggressive. Carl, I could imagine. And there he is. I'm reading the mind of Inso or Experian today. Last pick now for Reverso Gaming. Panda, your call.
I don't really know what you could possibly go into this composition here, but they need something which can hold some control, because there is a lot of control from the side of Experian, but they also have a good amount of damage for the objective, which is in the form of Carla and Colette. So Daryl is going to be picked up by Reverse. So this is the second time we're seeing Daryl today on this map specifically again, in fact. So I don't think that the Daryl is a bad pick at all. Into the Colette might be a pretty ambitious option, but certainly can just zoom out of the way with the double super that Daryl has in his kit now.
We're heading into our first map of our 6th match today. Found out we're already at the end of today's matches once this one is over. So stay tuned for this one. I hope it's going to be a banger. I hope we're going to have another one going all the way. Give us a close one here. I kind of like the comp from Experian a tiny bit better. We're heading into the wrong match for a second. You're going to be heading into Heist as soon as possible. Simply because of the Angelo having so much range to deal with the Bell. They have to collect with a single hypercharge all onto save. She takes 20% of a save, and even the Daryl probably can't do much more damage than what Experian can show us with that comp.
On the right-hand side, Tech's already going in for a lot of the damage. Ooh, Colette Super coming in. That's a lot of damage being put on the Reverso side. 23% already claimed. Ondi rolling in. Can he get a little bit more value on the save? He tries to get some, and 7% has been claimed against the Experience side as Tex goes in with a hypercharge. He does get marked, unfortunately so, and that is going to be him falling by the wayside. Right-hand side, Ondi gets taken out by Arthur. So a lot of back and forth, but right now, NXT do have a little bit more of an advantage with the control being on the side of Reverso.
MVP are the nest eggs once again. Bell just putting down one after another. Not the longest of recharge time on that gadget. We're up on the left hand side holding good control with his Eve. Didn't I once so far, I believe. Nevertheless, here NXT is in the lead for now. Omdina going in with a hypercharge on Daryl, doing a lot of save damage and ripping away the dreams that Experian had before. Now the lead goes to Reverso Gaming.
Yeah, rope for the hypercharge. There are going to be a lot of babies in the middle, and that is going to give a lot more control to the side of Reverso. We have Ness with a hypercharge as well, so that is going to be a moderating influence. And I believe the Daryl must be close to Super once more to do a lot more damage. Already, they have taken down the save to 51%, 49% claimed against this Experience side. So Reverso doing better than expected, at least for me.
NXT is doing a great job at just getting rid of the nest eggs whenever they can, whenever Nest can't actually reach them with his shot. He's going in here, only doing a little bit of damage still. Daryl on the lower part, we see it on the left-hand side in the graphic, doing a lot more, only 11% left on NXT save.
Yeah, certainly. So Amos not able to connect a lot of these shots. Ondi going in once more. He doesn't even care about it. He's just going for the safe damage, and that's exactly what he should do. That's going to be game number 1 for the side of Reverso Gaming as they do it very, very effectively.
Well played by them. They just have the opportunity with the Daryl to turn things around quite quickly. At the start, it certainly looks like Experian NXT had the better comp there. They had a lot more mid control. They had the save damage they needed, but then everything fell down with just one single engage of the Daryl.
Indeed, we go into the second game of this first set. Reverso took the first one with a little bit of authority towards the end. Let's see how this second one plays out. And NXT certainly need to connect a lot more shots. I feel like the Angelo wasn't connecting as many as they probably should have. Tex has the kill on Ondi. He's going to be low, but being on that little cubby on the right-hand side is exactly what he should be doing. Ondi going to go in, doesn't want any shenanigans, takes him out almost immediately. And it is a 10% lead for the side of Experian, but we saw this exactly the last time around. So they have to be careful, Experian. They have to get some more damage because the Ondi Daryl is just a huge threat, Sonny.
Is history going to repeat itself? Or Reverso Gaming going to turn things around in just a nick of a second here? Ness now with an ult ready, Ondi with an ult ready as well, trying to engage onto almost gets hit by a super shot. Can still take off a lot of the health of the save from NXT. The lead now goes to Reverso Gaming. It's not a big lead though, 4% only. The red team has mid control and the lead.
And Tex on the left hand side with a hypercharge. He's ready. Ness pops his hypercharge, gets a shot off on Arthur. Hypercharge being used by Tex. He's going to go on the safe. He's going to get a lot of value here. Arthur also gets a little bit of damage. And right now it is the side of Experian getting a little bit more on the safe damage department. But 54 seconds, it's still possible for Reverso to come back here, Sonny.
Great shots coming in from Tex here. Omdi now with a hypercharge, rolling onto safe. Can he turn things around? They had a 40% lead. Now it's 53 to 46. That lead shrunk down, but it's still NXT that are staying on top here. Nestex in place as well. Hypercharge ready on both the Angelo and the Colette. NXT can engage just one more time and delete that save. For now, they just need to defend. They can't allow the Daryl to go into save one last time.
Indeed, and here we have Iamos with his super hypercharge. Gets a little bit more damage on the objective. 11% is the difference here. Andy has a super, he could go for it. That's exactly what he's going to be doing. Ness pops a hyper, he gets the kill on Arthur. Sorry, he gets a mark off on Arthur. Arthur gets so much damage with his hypercharge, it's not going to be enough for the side of Reverso, as Experian and NXT have replied in kind, Sunny.
Well played. Experian manages to turn things around here. They learn from how Reverse has played in the first round, how to counter it, and they managed to do so. They're just playing a bit more carefully now, are ready for the Daryl engages, take him out as quickly as possible to then answer with an attack themselves. Well played by them. I do believe that they can take this first map if they manage to play it the same way, only going a lot more aggressively in this time. Almost and Tex are ready though, once again.
Tex on the right hand side getting a lot more damage on this Cubby. Is able to get his super, tries to go for Nest. The Nest egg is there and it slows him down and allows Rook to get the kill. On the other side, there is 18% being claimed against the experienced safe here, Sunny.
Almost shooting on the safe with a super, trickling him down. NXT takes the lead once again. The red team now has to push up. Uses that hypercharge in the bell. Well, Arthur is one shot. Still survives though. Is able to heal up thanks to its gadget. Over short or long, he's going to be taken out though. He's still standing in that right hand side corner, but he's still marked up. Tex moving on into the safe with a hypercharge. That safe is shrinking down. NXT looking even stronger this round than they did in the second one.
And about a minute 20 left on the clock. 50% is the difference here. So Andy has to go in and has to get a concerted amount of damage. Otherwise, it's looking really bad for Reverso. As a flying hook being used by Tex once more. He gets taken out. Hypercharged by Rook, hypercharged by Andy. They're all going in here. Lots of damage coming in on the safe here. And we can just see the experienced safe just taking a beating here, Sunny.
He is. NXT still is in the lead though. 50 seconds left on the clock and Reversa has used their strongest weapon right now. They don't have a hypercharge on the Daryl anymore and they still are not in the lead. It doesn't look too good for them. NXT needs to defend now. They are still in the lead, but it's shrinking. 4% only left on their lead here. Arthur trying to go in using hypercharge ult just to enable Tex to go into safe once again. He's going down. Arthur couldn't really do any more safe damage, but Tex is trickling it down, winning the round for his team. Experian NXT winning this first map very convincingly. The first round went to their opponents. Reverso did so well, but they were able to learn from their mistakes and play even better in round 2 and 3.
Yeah, it's crazy how well Experian were able to, refactor, come back from that first loss and completely play to their strengths in the next 2 games. So very well played by them. They were able to shut down Andy repeatedly, who was the major pain point in game number 1. So very well played by the side. I think it really goes to show that they have the nerves of steel that they require to play at this level. So good job from this side here.
That is definitely the case. Penna, I would ask you to restart something.
Yeah.
Very well played overall by both of those teams, I have to say. It could be that Reverso takes us to the very last set now. They played really well in the first round of that first map. Had a good draft as well. Both of those teams really showing us great Brawl Stars today. And I believe both of them would deserve the win today. Now, Bridge Too Far, another long-ranged map. We just saw how strong Experian NXT can be with Angelo, and he's also one of the best brawlers you can have on this map. So I think we could see that again here. Either banned or picked.
That is certainly true here, Sunny. I think that we've ironed out whatever issues that we had on our end. But yeah, this map is certainly interesting. We saw some good compositions. We saw some weird ones, and we saw Totem winning a very cheesy comp here. So Wouldn't be surprised to see some little bit of cheese maybe. It really depends on how the bans take shape. If we have Melody banned out, then we would see some of those pop-off plays from Melody. Or maybe we might see Melody, but she's completely shut down. Hank is another thing that we haven't seen as often, except for the one set where Reply Totem picked it up with Angel Boy. So I would like to see Hank coming out once more. It would be funny, but it'll also be interesting to see how it's executed at this level.
Angela, of course, banned out this time around. Melody as well as Colette. Penny still open of the 4 of those brawlers that have been banned out the most today. And Colt has had some great showings on Bridge so far today. I wouldn't be surprised to see him. We're going to see Lola come out as first pick from Experian NXT. Another brawler that we have seen so often today, Panda.
Make sure you guys hydrate. Lola, yeah, you mentioned it. It's been so good at taking down opponents. We saw how good Moru was with the Lola in that one in Bridge Too Far, I believe. Chuck's gonna be coming out. We have a little bit of the cheese that you wanted, some queso, some.
Did I?
Yeah, you said you wanted some Chuck. Remember?
Yes, I no. If I said that. I was sleeping. I don't know. Bella's going to come out now. A second pick, a great answer to the Lola. The Chuck cheese. You either have to play something to directly counter him. You could play Cordelis, for example, just take him in the Shadow Realm, or just play something that can defend and get rid of him as quickly as possible. If you go with the strat that Papara Supermassive went with, you can also just try to ignore him, win the 3v2 battle, and just do more damage on save as 3 people that he can do alone up top.
Yeah, it certainly seems like they're going for something like that. Lola and Brock. I think that Brock is good for his incendiary damage. I don't think that is great for any other real purpose here. The explosion damage does certainly keep brawlers at bay at that long range here, but the last pick is still on the side of Experian. Let's see. I mean, their last pick is still available, and they go for Daryl. We've seen how good Reversal was with their Daryl, so let's see if Experian is able to compete at that stage here. And I think that Daryl is good. It's a pretty good answer to the amount of damage that Chuck can bring to the table, but it's certainly an uphill battle for Experian here.
Andy was the Daryl player on the side of Versa Gaming. I would assume Tex maybe is the tank player on the side of Experian NXT. We're going to find out soon. Colt going to come out here as last pick. As I mentioned, so far I think he has overall the best stats on Bridge Too Far. I think Colt won pretty much every round that we saw him picked up. He just does a lot of damage, has the range to deal with those Bells, Pipers, Brocks that we've seen here so often. So I think it's a great last pick. Reverso. Do they have what it takes to prolong into round 3, or will Experian NXT make this one the 4th, I think, today, 2-0?
Yeah, I think it's certainly possible for them to do a big number with that Colt pick. We saw how good Joker was with the Colt on Bridge Too Far, so wouldn't be surprised to see something similar coming out from Ness. But in the mid, we see Tax going up against Andy. Certainly an interesting option. This is going to give Andy a much faster ability to set up his posts here. Arthur pushing back his opponent on the right-hand side here. It is interesting. Lola is going up against the Bell as Andy once again going in for safe damage.
Tex is indeed the tank player of that team, and he's now wreaking havoc onto save of Versa Gaming. NXT takes over the lead here quite comfortably. They do have to set up now with Chuck. He's just going in and out. Getting taken care of by Tex now though. Ness has a hypercharge already. He doesn't want to use it on Tex, of course. Doesn't fall in the end, uses his super regardless. He wants to use his hypercharge ult on safe. And slowly but steadily, Reverse actually takes over the lead now with that Chuck moving in again.
Indeed, and it just slowly trickles down, and they take a look at the safe here. Rook getting the mark off on Arthur, getting even more safe damage. On the other side, we see Daryl going in on the safe off Reverso, but I don't think he's in a great spot to do so. He gets taken out there, and so far it looks like a pretty decent side for Experian to be in, but Ness, with those full clips with the hypercharge, is able to keep Arthur down, gets taken out though, and that is going to be enough for the side of Reverso to take this first game here, Sonny.
It looked like it was a lot of back and forth in this match. Sometimes NXT had the lead, then Reverso took it back, and so on and so on. Reverso takes it in the end, and they're now 1-0 up in their second map, making this a potential for a 3-map round. We go all the way with this matchup, possibly, if Reverso wins again. I do believe NXT can take this one. It was really just who gets more shots onto save whenever they had an opening. Both teams had that opening, certainly.
Ooh, Adi getting taken out almost immediately when using his super there. That's not the best. Arthur trying to go up against the Colt there. Tex has a super, could go for something. He tries, he gets onto the save, getting some a little bit of damage here. Not going to be too much as Andi is finally able to set up all of his posts. Gets a kill on Amos. That's going to allow and facilitate Roop to move on the right hand side. Tex going to be trying to go in there, be a moderating influence for his team as another super used by the Chuck, and that brings the save down to 74% for Experian there.
Another strat against the Chuck seems to be picking Daryl and just trying to outrush what the Chuck puts down on your own save. Andi now going down again, getting some save damage in, and Reverso almost taking over the lead if it wasn't for Amos and Arthur still putting some damage onto save. Reverso now in a comfortable lead. Another couple of shots from Roop. Andi going in once again as well. Chuck doing his thing. And there's only 25% left of the save of NXT.
Indeed, and we have hypercharges coming in, a flurry of them. In fact, as Amos goes in once more and Tex, and that is going to be enough for the side of Experian to take this game and go into match point here, Sunny.
They turned that around very quickly. Just when I said they only have 25% left on their own save, there was nothing left of the opponent's save immediately. We're all played by Experian, and it seems like it was exactly the same as in the first round, safe zone. They turn things around. After losing the first game, they just win the set. Maybe this one as well. They learn how to play against the comp from the opponents.
Indeed, and once more we have the engage in the mid. Andi going in on Arthur, not able to get the kill there and not able to set up his post. Ooh, that's a kill coming in. Amos now has a complete unabated line of sight on the save. He can get a lot of value here and get incendiary damage, and that's exactly what he's doing. Should be taken out here as Andi gets a kill, and now we see Andi once more with his super is able to get all of his posts up. Tex going in on the other side, trying to get a little bit more damage on the objective, and it is a back and forth. Lots of kills on either side, Sunny.
That chucking in once again, 75 to 86%. It can change any second. Almost putting a couple more shots into safe. It's 65 to 70 now. Another ult coming out of that Brock as well as some shots from Arthur. And NXT takes the lead again. It's just really a back and forth. It's crazy what those two teams are showing us. Both are fighting for their lives here with a hypercharge ready on Nez. Now going in, putting his ult on that save, but still not taking the lead for his team. NXT is still 20% up.
There was a huge hypercharge being used by Tex, but he gets taken out here. That's all of that value abated. Andi another super on the safe, and I think he might be able to finish this one off. And this is looking really great for Reverso to force the set number 3, and that's exactly what they do. They get the kill and force the set number 3, and that is going to be very sad for Experian, but great for Reverso, Suddy.
8% of a difference, and Reverso takes this one, prolongs it into set 3. That was phenomenal. That was such a close match, exactly what we want to see. And it's only the second time today that we get to see pit stop coming out of those two teams now. We saw Daryl both times played by different teams. He would probably be very good on this map. I think pit stop is the tank map if you want to play a tank on Heist. Again, I still think throwers could be great here. Neither Humble nor FaceNick has picked it up before. We'll see.
Yeah, we saw them picking up stuff like Stu. Semantic wasn't even going for the objective. He was just going in and picking off members of the opposing team one by one, and certainly that does work. I mean, you don't really have to always go for the damage objective. You can ensure that the other team can't get their damage objective. So that is a strategy involved here as we go into pit stop. It is the last set of the day, Sunny, and I'm quite sad about that.
Very true. We had 6 matches in total. We're already at the very last one, and this is gonna be the last map. No matter what happens, no matter who wins, who takes the point today to eventually make it into the playoffs, it's gonna be the last one. So let's enjoy it all together one last time as we fly over the map once again, and we head into the draft any second.
And on pit stop, we've seen, at least here in today's tournament, we've seen people go in for Stews, Carls, Ruffs. So a lot of wall breaks are used because I don't think a lot of teams want to face throwers more than they have to. So if you go for something like a Stew with the breakthroughs or the piggy bank, it just makes a lot of sense here. And we have our bans: Rico, Barry, Melody, Miko, Spike, and Nita. So I think that some of these make a lot of sense. Nita is really good for wall peeking. Spike also with his super can do a lot. We have a Hank coming out. I am actually surprised that Hank wasn't banned on a map like this. With all the walls that exist, Hank certainly should be a one which is removed from the equation, but really good shout for Reverso, picking it up first and foremost.
I do like to see the Hank on a map like this. His hypercharge is gonna be blocked by the walls, I believe, so not as good on this map, but Hank overall will profit from those walls in 99% of the time when he doesn't have a hypercharge. So, as you said, if a Hank, then on this map, it also worked on Safe Zone though. If you want to watch the reply totem match in the VOD. Carl is going to be picked up by Experian NXT here. He's a good brawler. Cordelius, the perfect answer to the Chuck before, is now coming out as an answer to the Hank, I believe. Not really the best in dealing damage to safe, but certainly one of the best at defending your own safe.
I think that the Hank makes a lot of sense because early on you have a lot of the walls, but if you have wall breaks happening from Reverso or maybe Experian, I think Reverso should go for the wall breaks because as a game progresses, that's when Hank is probably going to get the hypercharge, which gives us value once the walls are broken down. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that being an option. They go for Meeple instead. Meeple can't really break walls, but he can put up a lot more walls with his Mansions of Meeple gadget. That's certainly an interesting option. I don't think either team is looking for wall breaks here, Sunny.
There is a cheese strat with BB's hypercharge and Meeple's gadget, where you just put the BB inside of gadget, bounce your hypercharge bubble a bunch of times around the safe. Let's see if BB is gonna come out as last pick here from Reverso Gaming. Boss instead, a brawler that didn't work out for FA Sniggets against Humble, but let's see if it works for Reverso Gaming. A brawler we haven't seen so far today. He was banned out a couple of times, but I believe thanks to the buff he has received in the last update, he is certainly a viable option here now.
This is a very cagey draft that we're seeing here because none of the teams can really get onto the objective unabated. They have to go against some sort of opposition. So it's certainly going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. Dynamite coming out next, and it is, I mean, the gadget rework has nerfed it in a way, but still 23 seconds for a stun is not that bad, all things considered. I still think that Dynamite has a lot of merit. Let's see how this one plays out though, Sunny.
Looking forward to this one. It's our last match, so put your favorite team in chat one more time. NXT versus Reverso. Who are you rooting for? Both of those teams need the points to get into the playoffs in the end. They are playing in Group A. Actually, yeah, they're playing in Group A, so they have teams like Totem and Papara Supermassive against them. Two very strong teams as well. So let's see if they can snack away a point today. They didn't last week.
It is down to the wire here. Each team has got a set to their name. It's now or never, as Tex is going to be trying to address Ness on the right-hand side, and Arthur just slowly waddling his way up. He wants to get a little bit of damage. I think I like this Dynamite pick. It's the only one which can get guaranteed damage on the objective without really being on the objective, so to speak, as Ness gets taken out by Tex, and that's exactly what you need to be doing here. Andy gets a kill on the Tex. He should be taken out here with a super, and Arthur gets that kill. Stun coming in from Buzz. That should surely be... Oh, Amos gets the better of Ness in that interaction.
Rip now moving up on the right hand side. NXT is in the lead. It's not a very big one, only 10% of a difference. X now ready with hypercharge to get rid of any potential danger. Rip certainly is trying to do something there, but Arthur absolutely popping off on his Dynamite. Crazy to see that.
Indeed, Hypercharge is there for Nez. He does pop it, but immediately gets Hypercharged by Tex here to completely obviated that super. There's no value to be had at all as Tex finally gets taken out by Andy. And it is 67 to 93%. Certainly possible for Reverso to come back, but it is a tall order considering the amount of damage that they've already capitulated to this Experience side.
I do believe Arthur is one of the mechanically most skilled players I've seen in the last few years. Just always has been a little too young to compete. We certainly see why I believe he's so strong. Going up against the Hank, almost taking him out there. Andy only sitting on 160 HP. Tex taking Nez into his Shadow Realm. Doesn't get rid of him either. Reverso is really getting lucky right now, just surviving on a couple of HP and still not in the lead though.
Yeah, that domain expansion wasn't enough for Amos as he gets taken out there. Huge hypercharge coming from Arthur. Can he get value? He does push back Ani. Ani pops his hypercharge here. Can he get his super? He's not able to get his super. He's not going to get those pop-off supers from Hank there. There's going to be a lot of damage coming in. Arthur alive, as is Amos. It is basically over for this game as Reverso Gaming are going to take the L here against this Experience NXT side, Sonny.
A lot of people believed with the gadget change, Dyna's not going to be as strong in the meta as he was before. His stun is now just way too slow to recharge. Arthur just playing the other gadget, and he makes him work so fine. I think Dynamite for me here, the MVP so far. Let's see what we see in this second round. If Reverso is able to turn things around here and get it into a double match point, or if NXT make this match point a win.
Nez goes in, but gets... I mean, he's not able to address Amos, but Roof finds the kill nonetheless. And now it's only Tex, the lone man alive on his team, as Andy is able to get a little bit of damage on the objective, but not all the way there. And it is a good start for Reverso Gaming, but they have a long road ahead if they want to equalize this one, Sonny.
Ooh, Tex, that was so smooth. Almost got targeted by Nez's boss ult, but Tex was ready to take him into Shadow Realm, completely neglecting the stun. Rook gets a takedown onto almost at the bottom, gets some save damage in, but it's still going to be NXT in the lead for now.
Ooh, Arthur pops the hypercharge, gets a kill on Andy, is able to go in and get a lot more safe damage, and that's exactly what he does. Another hypercharge super on the safe, and now Amos goes in, gets a lot of damage as the Carl player is able to whack the boomerang against the wall, and that is so much of value for the side of NXT and Experience. They're just ways away from Reverso right now. Oh my god, Arthur is on a tear! Meeple making it an open field against the Dynamite, and still Arthur gets the better out of that interaction. He wins again and again his 1v1s, just surviving and doing damage onto save. His two teammates doing exactly the same. NXT should win this one, if not something crazy happens for Reverso now. Andy may be able to get a hypercharge in, pushing up onto save. For now, they're just defending like they did all match long so far. Ness goes in on a Tex, is able to get the kill on this left-hand side. Arthur pops the gadget, misses it. That is unfortunate for them, but they are still leading by about 70%, so that is great. Hypercharge being popped by Ness. He goes on the safe here, but he finally gets marked by Tex, so not able to get any value whatsoever. That Cordelis being played to perfection as Arthur finally gets taken out here, so they are able to address Arthur, but Tex is there. Going to be annoying for them to deal with, but he gets taken out here, and finally Andy popping his gadget, popping his hypercharge, is able to get one shot, is able to get the second, pops his super, and not able to get the value he's looking for, and it is 13 seconds left. It's all but over for the side of Reverso City.
And they're already celebrating. They know this is over. NXT taking the win in a 2-1 fashion today, getting points to make it all the way to the playoffs. Very well played by them. Arthur, Tex, and Amos, well played. Reverso, I liked what they showed us here today, but it just wasn't enough against Arthur's Dynamite, honestly.
I have to say, Experion NXT may not be a team that people have heard of, even Reverso, but both these teams have showed us that they have the capabilities of being some of the best teams in EMEA. And I gotta say, Arthur, that's a name that you guys need to look out for in years to come, because this guy is definitely going to be making a name in the scene. I remember back in the day in 2022, 2023, people used to talk about Ope as being mechanically gifted and not really being prevalent there. And this guy goes on to being in some of the biggest squads in the world. So wouldn't be surprised to see Arthur doing the same thing in a few years' time. I'm just going to say that. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I think we had Joker being that way, Ope, then next, Luki won Worlds last year after being a complete underdog before that. So Arthur, also Gessi, I don't know if that name says something to you, Panda.
It
Those
does.
two players, as soon as they're going to be of age to compete in the BSC, it's going to be dangerous for everybody else. We had a bunch of amazing games today, 6 matches in total. Most of them ended in a 2-0 fashion, and then 2 big surprises, I have to say. Humble losing a set to FA Sniggets, going all the way to the very last set, or the very last game, to pit stop. And then also this last one for me was a personal favorite here, just because it was so close. Both teams could have taken that one.
Yeah, for sure. And the next match day is going to be a week from now. It's going to be bounty only, so you're going to be seeing a lot of action, maybe on like Shooting Star and whatnot. But once again, I am Panicast. This is Sunny. Wait, I don't know how to. Which side should I be pointing? This? No, this is Sunny. This is Sunny. Make sure you guys use our codes in the Brawl Stars shop or any Supercell game. Mine is code PAN. Hers is code SUN. If you're buying Brawl Passes, if you're buying Pro Passes, make sure you use one of our codes because it's going to help us out a lot to bring more content to you. Thank you once again to GKR League for giving us this opportunity to cast this tournament, Supercell as well, and all of the sponsors who made this possible, and obviously the teams who have participated and showcased their medal, and you, the viewer, for coming and showing up and seeing the esports tournaments. Really, it just brings a tear to my eye.
Thank you for Smilke for staying with the GKR League, for giving us the opportunity to cover such a league also in Brawl Stars. It is the very first time that GKR is coming into Brawl Stars, and I'm sure you and me hope it's not going to be the very last time. So thank you all for joining today. It was a blast to cast with you again, Pen. It's been a while, and have a nice evening.
See you guys in a week. Bye-bye.
Take my hand and we'll go away to a different place. Float on air and we'll hide away. I'll be your escape. Look up and feel the shifting winds tossing us around again. Hold tight, get ready to begin and just levitate.
Good morning.
We did it! We won!
Fructus takes you from shower prep to real-life confidence.
Let's get started.
Number one! Number one!
Put Fructus to the test by Garnier.